One, two, one, two, three. Hello, beautiful people. I'm starting the stream right now, and we will start from the true crime video. So let's watch this one.
This
lawyer murdered his own client. Yeah, my mic is switched on, so I can start. This lawyer murdered his own client.
This lawyer doesn't want to go to trial, so then he allegedly murders his own client. Now his name's Gregory, and Gregory's 39, he's a divorce attorney living in Ohio, and I don't know if he doesn't like being a lawyer or if he just has too many cases, but he is notorious for delaying his trials when he isn't prepared to go to them. Like, he'll make up excuses, he'll call in sick, he'll fake illnesses. One time he even stages a car crash to get out of going, but then he does something really crazy. One day in 2012, he wants to avoid a trial, so on the day he's...
Yeah, how is he even actually working as a lawyer if he's such unreliable person and fakes his fakes the excuses of the not going to the trial. Actually, that's so pathetic, actually, really.
Supposed to be there, he calls in a bomb threat to the courthouse. And I guess it works, like it causes a bunch of panic and the whole place shuts down.
He's so mad. Why he's even working as a lawyer if he hates this work? I like to go to the courts as a lawyer. I mean, I liked to do this before when I worked.
While police investigate and his court date gets pushed back. And Gregory's like, hell yeah, that worked! And so he does it a few more times. Like, he doesn't want to go to a hearing on a certain day, so he'll just call in a bomb threat and his trial will be delayed. Now eventually, police catch on to what he's doing. I imagine it's because all these bomb threats are coincidentally happening on days that he's scheduled to be in court. And so they start investigating him, and he has to not only stop these shenanigans, but he has to come up with a new way to delay his trials. In this case, potentially murder someone. Now, let's pause this story for a second, because I want to talk about this woman, Eliza. And Eliza's 53, she's a nurse, also living in Ohio, and Eliza has a big problem. Her marriage just isn't working out. So in 2011, she and her husband decide to part ways and get a divorce. And to represent her in this divorce, she ends up with a divorce attorney, Mr. Bomb Threat himself, Gregory. And fast forward to 2 years later. It's now 2013. And Eliza's divorce is still going on and her hearing is coming up. And you know how Gregory is never prepared for his trials, so he'll go to great lengths to delay them? Well, he wants to delay this one too. And while he can't do bomb threats anymore because he's still under...
It's a strategy, actually, to delay the trials, to just make the things going for yourself, but I don't know if he's doing this on purpose and so many times, and with even the bomb threats, that could be just his unreliable behavior here.
Investigation, he's gonna try other ways. Like, he files motions and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately for him, none of that works. The trial is still happening as scheduled. So he's got to try something different. And this is where shit starts to get dark. Because a day before the trial, he sends Eliza a text, and he says he wants to meet at his law offices to discuss her case. And so now we're getting into the part of the story that is alleged, because Gregory hasn't actually been to trial yet, so this is just what they're accusing him of. So, allegedly, about an hour after Gregory texts Eliza, he shows up to the law office building, and he goes to the front door and he swipes his access card to get in. But he doesn't actually go into the building, he's just creating an alibi for himself. Instead, he disconnects his phone from his cell network so his whereabouts won't be able to be tracked later. Then, allegedly, he changes into some different clothes, all black, so that he's covered up. And he hides out of sight and he waits for Eliza to arrive. About an hour later, she pulls up. And she walks up to the building, and the doors are locked, and I guess she tries to, push the call buttons or whatever, but no one lets her in. So she texts Gregory, I'm here waiting, but then she gets back into her car to wait because, it's cold out. Then, somehow, Gregory texts her back. Now, it's speculated he used a hotspot, but he texts her back saying the doors are open and she can go in. So she heads back to the building, and as she's walking along, suddenly, boom, Gregory jumps out of nowhere, and he's got a knife. And Eliza screams, and she breaks out and runs away, but he starts chasing her, and he's faster than her. So then, bam, he catches her, and he stabs her again and again and again, and he ends up stabbing her 11 times. Then he runs away, and you can see him, allegedly him, here on surveillance footage fleeing the scene. And here, the same thing, but from a different angle.
Yeah, he's not guilty till it's claimed by the court, so yeah, allegedly. But, if the Ray shot the video about him, he's probably not alleged.
Angle. Then, a few minutes later, Gregory, wherever he is, he starts texting her again, hey, where are you? Are you gonna show? I'm here at the office waiting. Again, he's trying to create an alibi for himself, and he's trying to make it look like he has no idea that she was just stabbed. Now, pretty quickly, police show up, and the place is swarming with cops, and they're all looking for whoever attacked Eliza. And so Gregory, he needs to get back into the law office building to make it look like he's been waiting there the whole time for Eliza to show up.
What the even purpose? She will not pay if she's dead. Just what the hell is he doing? What is the meaning of killing his own client if she will not be able to just pay him afterwards, or just have the maybe future trials? That's so unnecessary and just violent.
So he sneaks back in through a back entrance, and he goes into his office, and he chills there. Meanwhile, Eliza is rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, she doesn't make it.
Lee, Cleveland police are still looking for any evidence or surveillance video that could help them crack this case.
And of course, this means she can't make her divorce hearing, and since his client is now a no-show, Gregory's trial gets delayed, just like he had planned. While at the same time, police are investigating Eliza's murder. And of course, they question Gregory as he was the last one to speak to her that day. And in their questioning, they catch him lying about his whereabouts during the time of the murder, which makes him look really suspicious. And so they start thinking, maybe this guy had something to do with it. But they don't have enough direct evidence to charge him with anything. And 3 years go by, and it's now 2016. And they're still investigating this murder, and they still think Gregory was involved. And by this point, they've put 2 and 2 together. I mean, he used to call in bomb threats to delay his own court hearings, so maybe it's not a stretch that he would murder someone to delay a court hearing. However, they don't have enough evidence to convict him or even charge him. So
he really likely just made everything look like he's not done it eventually. If the trial and investigation goes for about 3 years, so yeah, he made it quite clean.
So they eventually, just to get him on something, they charge him with providing false information to the police since he lied about his whereabouts during the murder. And they also finally charge him for all those bomb threats he was making back in 2012. And that's enough to get him, so bam, they arrest him. And he takes a plea deal and he gets sentenced to 6 months in jail and he loses his law license and he can no longer be a lawyer. Which sucks for him, but at least it was only 6
months. I don't think that it sucks for him. He obviously didn't want to work as a lawyer if he delayed so many court hearings.
Months, and they never actually charged him with unaliving Eliza. Until years go by, and it's now 2021. And Gregory has long been out of jail. I assume he's off living his normal life, minding his own business, and he's living in Texas now. However, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation gets a hold of better technology and better forensics. And so they start looking into old cold cases to see if maybe they can solve some of them. And they get into Eliza's case, and of course, Gregory becomes their #1 suspect. So they start going through all the old files and all the evidence, and they spend thousands of hours on this. And when they're done, they feel like they've got more than enough to finally charge Gregory with Eliza's murder.
He lied to the police, he hid evidence from the police, and he has lived for 12 years amongst us with everyone believing the husband did this, and that's not
12 years! Holy shit, that's a long time. He has been hidden all of this. But from American justice, it's really hard to hide.
And so, U.S. Marshals go to Texas and
works very well there.
bam, they arrest him. Here's his mugshot.
We're told he's facing 6 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count each of aggravated murder and conspiracy.
Now, keep in mind, as I said, this hasn't actually gone to trial yet, so him being connected to the murder is still alleged. Although, things aren't really looking good for him right now.
Greg Moore is reckless, unpredictable, and capable of taking extreme measures to fulfill his evil agenda.
And a huge shout out to Leah.
Yeah, that's really violent. And actually wild that he can he could hide from the hand of justice for the 12 years, just 12 years, you can imagine. That's so wild. Okay, let's see this one.
Mama, I miss you.
Let's see some drama. The internet wasn't ready for iShow speed.
Just talk to me, Mom.
I had that one viewer, and that viewer made me keep going.
I swear to God, chat. I don't give a fuck.
All right, okay, all right.
I don't give a fuck.
All right.
I'm gonna be on the record.
Okay, all right.
Guess what? I'm gay.
No.
I mean, I'm gay.
Because I got mad, and something like and it like came out of me. Growing up there, it was, I wouldn't say it was hard,
big,
not so
as
well.
a streamer, as a YouTuber, as a whatever creator, he's just blown up, and with his world tours, he looks like a really world-sized celebrity. That's fascinating.
Neighborhood, you know, I had a lot of fights. I seen a lot of stuff. It's Ohio, like just growing up there is so many shit just happened. I was getting chased by a lot of dogs in Ohio.
Of course, that's Ohio. Strange things are happening in Ohio.
That's how you got fast.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was always just somebody who just wanted to have fun and just make people laugh. Like even in school, you know, I used to get in trouble. I was just a troll, really a class clown troll. Just for trolling, being a class clown, just like, you know, doing crazy stuff. I used to dance, like in the talent shows. So when I was younger, I was always like, I played sports. I played football, basketball, whatever. I played football. I was like a 4-star, 5-star. You can look up my name. I was one of the best slots in Ohio.
COVID-19.
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 You remember COVID, right? 2020.
Yes.
2020 COVID. I was around 14. You know, it was no school. I was bored and had nothing to do. You know, everything stopped. Stuck in the house, and just something sparked in me. When I made my gamer tag when I was 12 years old, I put I show speed because I always loved games. I was always a gamer, and I made like videos when I was a kid. You know, just that's pretty much where my life changed. I sparked that first stream up. I had that one viewer, and that viewer made me keep going.
You said, oh, what's up, Pacifics, man? What's up, my boy? Come on, bro. I got 90 people in here. I want everybody to follow shit. Don't sleep.
Well, I did pretty much grow. Like, my whole really childhood is on the internet. I won't say effort. I was just pressing go live every day. I mean, like, that was the effort there. Just going live every day for 3 to 4 hours. Then my sophomore year, I kind of gave up on school. I kind of gave up on everything that I had to my old life and just put everything onto my stream. I streamed every day. I didn't care about nothing else but YouTube streaming. So I dropped out my sophomore year. I was failing all my grades my sophomore year.
How did your parents?
So my mom, she kicked me out. She told me to quit.
Yeah.
Or I'm leaving. So I'm like, I'm out. You know, like, I'm not about to stop.
Do not feel bad for me. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't show no sympathy for me, bro. If YouTube does not work out for me, man, I'm gonna just go back to being a regular kid, bro. You feel me? You know, eventually I will expand my YouTube. Like,
What the fuck, bro? Like, bro, stop spam calling me. Like,
I love streaming. I want to really, really perfect it because I really love the game of streaming. Like, I love the industry.
Bradley donated £1.79 through Super Chat. What soccer football team do you support?
Cristiano Ronaldo, Suey. Cristiano Ronaldo, Suey.
TikTok is the reason why I blew up. 2021, my clips was going viral on TikTok.
I'm just now finding out that I'm a whole meme. Like, bro, people making TikToks. That's crazy how I'm a real live meme. Simple as that, bro.
Well, that's so cool.
Before I play this, bro, who y'all favorite players, man?
Messi. No, Bandaz, Tokyo, Mbappe. Like, who is this guy? Butterscotch?
He made his name on the football as well. He made his name worldwide known by his obsession with football and the connections with the Ronaldo and all other stars of the football. He he chose the sport cleverly because the football is the biggest sport out there, so it worked out for him very well.
It was this dude named Bradley. He donated in my chat. He donated me. He asked me, soccer club I support. And I was like, Cristiano Ronaldo. And after that donation, that's where it sparked. I try my best to entertain people in a good way.
Yo, tell this commentary to get off his nuts.
Neymar Jr., fuck you, so I'm about to go with Rivaldo.
When did you have this infinity with Ronaldo and like, man, I really like him?
Starting like in 2022. That man, like, I really like respect people who like inspires me and keeps me going. When I seen Ronaldo, when I seen how he lives, talks, how his career was, like, his career is a legacy.
Ronaldo! Ronaldo is me!
Is it true that you got Ronaldo's face tatted on you?
Yeah, right here.
I love you, Ronaldo!
Truthfully, does Ronaldo know me? Yeah. I can't wait to meet Ronaldo. I cannot wait.
Hey, Rui, how do I meet Ronaldo, bro?
I love you so much, God. I love you so much, God.
He's so jacked.
I love traveling. I feel like I'm in a different, it just makes life better.
And he learned so many flags and countries while he was traveling. Like, he was even able to guess many countries by their flags on the quiz. That's quite impressive for an American, as we're can notoriously know that Americans not really knowledgeable of the geography in general.
Stuff just be happening. I don't even know how. I was IRL streaming, then some kid literally randomly came up to my security, was like, I know the Prime Minister. Then I heard him out, literally, we got his number. Like 20 minutes later in my stream, we pull up to the Prime Minister thing. I met him. You know, it went crazy. Like, that's why I love streaming.
Oh, that could be occasional, like, go to the Prime Minister just by walking. That could be one out of the 1000% chance. Like, I'm pretty sure that it has been scheduled, but whatever. That's fun. It's entertainment.
It's just everything's live and anything can happen.
Direct calling! Kiss, kiss, kiss!
Was there a moment when you were just starting out where you're like, oh wow, my streams feel different now?
When I did my first Euro tour and we improvised that so well, like I was like, whoa, like this is something that I'm actually doing big. Then after the Euro tour, I followed up with the Southeast Asia tour. Now I'm doing more tours. That Euro tour, that really set my eyes open. Like it really made me think about so much that I can do. Lately, these past hours, I've been suffering very mentally, bro.
You a joke, bro?
Tell me a joke.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not your aunt?
You don't know nothing of her. You don't even know our relationship. All y'all know is that my aunt died. So y'all bring that shit up, that shit is fucked up. And everybody's laughing at you. How you show me? And like, bro, reposting it. Like, bro, how the fuck would you fucking feel, motherfucker? How the fuck would you fucking feel? At the end of the day, I'm still a human being, bro.
Of course. He's not lonely. Blown up YouTuber slash streamer. He's a human being as well, of course.
I'm so thankful you have a father like that. My father was a piece of shit his whole life, and continues to be so.
Yeah.
I love you, Papa Speed.
Really nice father.
I love you,
really
Dad. You're my
supportive.
inspiration.
That's cool.
That was huge, man.
For chat.
Thanks, man.
Can you say...
What is this, bro?
Norway tour? Yeah, I saw this tour actually, and when he's broke his leg and everything went really wrong in this shop where he has been swarmed by the fans. It's really that's one of the wildest streams ever for him, I think, if not the wildest.
Literally just got here, bro. Oh, shit. Bro, we gotta call the police, bro. We gotta call the police. There's no way we get out of this. Stop it, calm down! Hey! Stop! Like, look at these two people. What the fuck?
Fans, they jumped on your car, they pulled your hair, broke your camera, tried to pull your pants down, throw water on you to kiss you. You like the Beatles. You like Michael Jackson when you go how the crowd just thousands, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Don't get off the road, man. No, I can't move, bro. I got no shoes, bro. It's crazy, bro.
Han är utförstånd.
Yeah, Southeast Asia, where one of the biggest streams happened actually. I remember that during the Indonesian stream, he actually broke his YouTube comment section because too many people were typing in the chat.
I would have never thought I'd be traveling to countries doing streaming, but you know, stuff happens.
When you prepare to go overseas, you're going to Asia, and you're probably going for, what, a minimum 10 days? How do you prepare for a trip like that?
Ooh, there's a lot. Security, cars, what are we going to do, what exits we're going to take, activities, permissions, camera, internet, switch cars, doppelganger. You gotta like, I got somebody on my team that look like me. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And that's...
Wait. Wanna see his doppelganger?
You gotta like,
Yeah, that guy is actually looking like the speed so so accurately. What the fuck?
Got somebody on my team that look like me. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And that's every time you go overseas.
If I'm doing a stream, yeah.
You cross 30 million subs while you're on an Asian tour.
Having a million viewers is like...
Million viewers? 1 million viewers? Holy shit. That's like the World Cup amount of viewers, or something really big. Holy shit, 1 million. That's too many, and that was the Indonesia probably.
Something that like I dreamed of, and that always been a dream of mine. Me having a million viewers was always a dream of mine. So when I reached that moment, I just genuinely started crying.
1
I went
million.
into a country and they just showed me so much support and just welcomed me with open arms, you know.
And the Streamer of the Year award goes to IShowSpeed.
Streamer of the Year. The countries that allow me to, you know, streaming them. I want to thank everybody. Streaming really allowed me to express myself in so many ways and just show who I am. Sir!
What do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, the greatest streamer that ever lived. The greatest content creator that ever lived.
Untold Archives. Seems like a nice channel. The little channel. $23,000 views. Okay, so let's watch some other stuff. Israel and Iran are attacking each other, or what is going on here? Israel vows to continue strikes on Iranian nuclear sites as Iran retaliates. Iran retaliates against Israel after attacks at nuclear sites. Holy shit. It can blow up really badly if the nuclear plant will be destroyed, such as the Chernobyl's case shown, actually. Gosh.
Israel and Iran at war.
Iran fires missiles into Tel Aviv tonight, but the U.S. helps Israel intercept them.
It's retaliation for Israeli strikes that decapitated Iran's military and aimed to cripple its nuclear program.
President Trump warns Iran, make a deal before there's nothing left.
Yeah, they warned that they will not. Israel and US will not let the Iran have their own nuclear weapons, because it will be too dangerous to all of the nearby countries, and not only nearby countries. So yeah.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson.
Here's a picture now of
Good
Tel
evening.
Aviv tonight.
Good
There
evening.
is a new war in the Middle East. Israel decided it could wait no longer to take out the nuclear threat in Iran.
It launched airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military targets, including the main nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz. The Israeli military said 200 fighter jets hit more than 100 targets. And this is just the beginning of the attacks.
The strikes took out nuclear scientists and military leaders, including General Mohammad Bagheri, who oversaw Iran's armed forces, and General Hossein Salami, head of the Revolutionary Guard.
Iran warned that the gates of hell will open and retaliated with 100 drones and dozens of ballistic missiles.
The full-scale war is on the start, possibly. That will be devastating.
United States
if that will be actually a full-scale war, Iran versus the Israel, the two biggest superpowers on the Middle East.
Israel in trying to
Military
intercept them.
superpowers.
We begin
in
our
Iran's case.
coverage with Weijia Zhang at the White House. Weijia?
Well, the United States also insists it had nothing to do with Israel's military operation. But yes, it will continue to help defend Israel, whose prime minister says his military is ready to keep going.
Air raid sirens urged people to shelter in place as Israel's air defense system, assisted by the United States, tried to intercept the barrage of Iranian ballistic missiles.
Oh my God, that missile was so destructive.
At supersonic speed, some slipped past and hit their targets.
God.
Dozens were hurt in the retaliatory strike. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said, "The Zionist regime has made a grave error, and the consequences of this will bring it to ruin." But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue the operation to incapacitate Iran's nuclear program.
More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them.
Thursday night's attack by Israel was at least 8 months in the making. Israeli media reported commandos from Israel's intelligence service, the Mossad, built a drone base inside Iran and used it to strike surface-to-air missile launchers at a military base near Tehran, clearing the way for the Israeli bombing campaign. Mossad also released this video showing its soldiers on Iranian soil. Cell phone video captures the moment Israeli airstrikes hit the area around the Natanz nuclear plant, considered the regime's most significant enrichment facility. Netanyahu claimed it was destroyed. Israel had also identified the homes of some Iranian military leaders, killing them in their beds.
The Israelis are trying.
Andrew Boyd is a former CIA.
I hope the innocent people were not attached here in these eliminations.
Official.
The Israelis are releasing video of their operatives, video of their spy tactics. Is it typical to show your receipts so soon after an attack? Why would they do that?
They would only do it if those operatives were in a safe place and weren't going to be under threat from a retaliation from the Iranians or being found by the Iranians. I do think what they're trying to do is to further illustrate how the Iranian regime has lost control of their country, and the Iranian regime is no longer safe.
This morning, President Trump spoke to Netanyahu by phone and held a meeting in the Situation Room with the National Security Council. The administration insists the U.S. did not coordinate with Israel. Secretary of State and acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio insisted Israel took unilateral action against Iran. "We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region."
President Trump says he knew the attack was in the works, but publicly he was urging Netanyahu to hold off so that the U.S. could continue negotiating an agreement to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions. Despite the conflict that is now raging, the White House claims talks scheduled with Tehran for Sunday are still on.
Weijia Jiang at the White House. Thank you.
One of the risks of this fighting between Israel and Iran is that it will spread to other countries in the Middle East.
And while the United States is supporting Israel,
yeah,
it is
it can really spread on the other countries because Iran has so many proxies like Hezbollah and so many other things like Hamas as well. It's the Iranian proxy. I mean, actually, I don't know about the Hezbollah, but Hamas is 100% Iranian proxy.
Also working behind the scenes to try to prevent a wider war. Margaret Brennan in Washington has more about this.
Iran actually prepared really well for the full-scale conflict on the Middle East because of the proxies mainly and his military as well. Like the Iran has the advanced military actually. And the proxies are very well equipped, so it will be not an easy campaign for the Israel.
So, Margaret, what's the risk of this becoming a wider war?
Just I'm personally hoping that the innocent civilians innocent civilians will be not touched as much as in other wars, current wars. Yeah, and they will be pretty much all right. I'm hoping really
well,
much
Maurice,
for
the
that.
U.S. is already warning that the consequences for Iran would be dire if any of its agents were to target U.S. citizens, American bases, or infrastructure in the Middle East. There are 40,000 military personnel in the region, in countries like Kuwait, in Qatar, in Iraq. And there's this risk of miscalculation. You're already seeing today that the U.S. military stepped in to defend Israel from incoming Iranian missiles, despite the Israeli assessment that Iran is in a historically weak position following those attacks on its aerial defenses last year. In the past, many American
should never underestimate the Iran's military force.
Presidents have worried that Israel would start a war it couldn't finish on its own without American help. Right now, Israel's prime minister is betting that the Iranian regime will buckle under pressure rather than go head-to-head in a conflict.
Margaret, if the U.S. is telling Iran, don't you dare do it, what else is the U.S. doing to try to...
But yeah, I think the Iran still wants to have the status quo. If the Israel will not start the full-scale war itself, I don't think that Iran will be foolishly think that it can take over the Israel just at once. So I think it will wait. It will just wait for the best moment.
To stop a wider war.
Well, John, yesterday, Secretary of State Rubio called American allies in the region in advance of the Israeli strike, and sources told me Rubio's message was this is not an American-sanctioned operation, and President Trump wanted to use diplomacy to end wars, not start them. But these allies are also concerned that Israel may push the envelope and that Israeli strikes on these nuclear installations could cause radiation fallout, for example, that
exactly. That's what I'm worried about. Just these nuclear plant attacks. They can end really destructively if the nuclear plant will blow up. We know what can happen, and the blow up can be really huge and really destructive for the environment and people and everything.
Dangers other citizens in the region. Today, the UN nuclear watchdog warned that there is chemical contamination at one of the bombed sites and called for a proper response.
Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan. Thank you so much, Margaret.
The latest conflict in the Middle East is rattling financial markets all over the world. Stock prices fell today. Oil prices soared. Reason to call in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. So, Kelly, what here is the reason for oil going up?
Simple economics. So Iran is a top 10 oil producer. It's also right next to the Strait of Hormuz. 30% of the world's oil goes through that strait. Supply and demand. Oil's traded on a global market.
30% of oil going through this strait? And Iran is one of the biggest oil producers. Holy shit. Yeah, that can damage the world economy and the oil prices as well. Well, I think the Saudi Arabia has too much oil to actually cover this this hole in the market.
Impacts supply, whether that be a bomb going off or Iran saying no one can have access to the Strait of Hormuz. That impacts supply, prices go up.
What about the impact on Americans here at home?
Think gas prices. I hope you're not driving anywhere this summer, Maurice. Go back. Summer of 2022 was above $5 a gallon. Why? Because oil, right there, it was above $100 a barrel. That was right after Russia attacked Ukraine. And so we're starting to see oil prices go up. And the fear is something similar is going to happen again because of this conflict.
Summer travel plans are one thing, but the wider impact, what about that?
Everything. Oil prices lead to higher inflation when they go up, and it's because they drive diesel prices. Trucks, everything that comes to delivery runs on diesel. Your groceries, going to the grocery store. When diesel prices go up, so does inflation, and that's why we call it the canary in the coal mine.
Yep, affects everybody. All right, Kelly O'Grady, thanks so much.
Okay. Let's watch this one. Schopenhauer exposed the dark truth about women that men still ignore. What is this dark truth? Can you reveal it?
Most men spend their lives confused, chasing love, validation, and happiness from women, only to end up heartbroken, used, or trapped. But 200 years ago, a philosopher named...
yeah, maybe because the traditional values are not that... are forgotten in the really many cases. The people are not sticking to each other and not trying to actually build the relationships, but trying to find the most suitable partner, and they don't pretty much know what they're doing in most of the cases, so the relationships are being distracted really often.
Arthur Schopenhauer exposed the raw truth about female nature. Truth so brutal, most men refuse to accept them.
Okay.
By the end of this, you'll see exactly where you've been deceived and how to finally take back control. So pay attention, because what you're about to hear isn't just controversial. It's the missing key most men will never grasp.
Okay.
Schopenhauer didn't believe in fairy tales. He saw love for what it really is. Not a spiritual bond, not destiny, but a biological trick.
Yeah, I've heard this thing, like when just love happens, that's just all of the biology, but still you cannot deny that the strategical and actually just the behavioral aspects of the relationships are also existing. Like if the person is too far from you, it will be really hard to actually build the relationships from the distance relationships, and it requires really much dedication to actually build them. And if the people just are not suitable for each other, they will be not together eventually, and if they are not comparable in any sort, they will be not together, or they will broke up really quickly. So yes, there are many aspects of the relationships what could be considered, would be what we could take into the consideration.
A ruthless illusion designed by nature for one purpose: reproduction.
Oh yeah, that's
Here's
I
the
agree.
uncomfortable truth.
Reproduction
When you
is the
feel
main
that
goal, of
electric
course.
attraction, that obsessive desire, that conviction that she's the one, your brain isn't connecting with her soul. It's calculating, subconsciously assessing fertility, genetic compatibility, survival advantages. And women? Their attraction works the same way, just with different priorities.
I do agree with
Schopenhauer
this.
wrote, "Love is the ultimate goal of almost all human effort. It is more important than anything else in life." But he...
Yeah, exactly. Procreation is what we are destined to do, actually, as the humans, as the species. If we will not procreate, we will just die. So it's really important.
He didn't mean that romantically. He meant it as a trap. A fleeting chemical high that fades the moment it serves its purpose. Think about it. How many men have destroyed themselves for a woman who later walked away without a second thought? How many marriages crumble once the passion evaporates?
Yeah.
That's not coincidence. It's nature's design. Women don't choose men based on fairness, loyalty, or even logic. They follow an ancient selection program, hardwired to seek status, security, and genetic superiority. A man's devotion means nothing if he can't provide these. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. Women are rarely guided by reason. They are ruled by instinct and emotion. This isn't misogyny, it's observation. Look at dating apps, where 80% of women compete for the top 20% of men. Look at divorce courts, where commitment is rewarded with financial ruin. Look at history, where kings died for mistresses who betrayed them. The pattern doesn't change because the biology doesn't change. Most men believe love is mutual, that if they sacrifice enough, care enough, prove their worth, they'll be rewarded.
That doesn't work like this. I mean, how it can be mutual if only man does this? The girl also should do the sacrifices as well, and do care and love. So I think actually that's cannot work if it is not mutual.
But Schopenhauer warned, to be loved, one must not be just, but clever.
Yes.
Women don't fall for nice. They fall for strength, not just physical, but social, financial, psychological. This is why the good guy finishes last. Not because he's unworthy, but because he misunderstands the game. He thinks love is earned through service. Women, by instinct, are drawn to men who don't need to serve. Ever noticed how women lose interest once they've secured a man? How the chase reverses. Schopenhauer called it the tragedy of possession.
Okay.
The thrill isn't in having, it's in conquering. Once the conquest is over, biology moves on. That's why men who cling too hard, who make her the center of their world, inevitably watch her walk away. But here's the twist. This isn't women's fault. It's nature's. And the man who understands this...
Yeah, I saw this on practice, actually. A few times I saw like when the friend is actually has been really obsessed with the girl. He has been in relationships with so long time, and she just walked away without any much words, and he suffered really badly. I've had some similar experiences, but with much less longer relationships, if I can call them relationships, of course. they were really short.
He stops blaming. He starts strategizing. Schopenhauer's lesson isn't to hate women. It's to see them clearly. To recognize that love isn't a fantasy. It's a negotiation. And the man who negotiates from weakness loses every time. But this is just the beginning. Because the next truth, it's even darker. It explains why modern men are being outplayed in every arena and how to flip the script. Stick around, because what comes next is where most men realize they've been lied to their entire lives. Schopenhauer saw what most men today still refuse to admit. The rules of attraction aren't fair. They aren't logical. And they certainly aren't in your favor.
Yeah, of course, the life is not fair by itself.
While modern
Never has
society
been.
preaches equality, biology operates on a different set of laws. And the man who ignores this? He's already lost. Here's the brutal reality. Women hold the ultimate leverage in relationships, not because they're cruel, but because nature designed them to be selectors. From the moment puberty hits, a woman's value in the sexual marketplace peaks, while a man's must be built through struggle, status, and survival. Schopenhauer put it bluntly. Women are suited to being the nurses and teachers of our childhood by the very fact that they themselves are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. He wasn't insulting them. He was highlighting an evolutionary truth. A woman's youth and beauty are her currency, and she instinctively knows how to spend it.
Yeah,
Look around.
that's the currency.
The average man
really
today is
valuable.
drowning in a paradox. He's told to be emotionally vulnerable, while women still chase dominance. He's shamed for wanting traditional masculinity while strong. Alphas still dominate dating apps. He's worked to exhaustion, providing in a system that rewards him with divorce courts and paternity tests. Schopenhauer warned of this centuries ago. Women are directly fitted for acting as the nurses and teachers of childhood by the fact that they are themselves childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. In a word, they are big children all their lives. But here's where it gets dangerous. Modern
Yeah, girls really often too emotional. So they're thinking more from the emotional perspective than logic.
women haven't just embraced their power.
That's okay.
They've weaponized it. Social media has turned attention into an economy, and the average man is the unpaid laborer. He simps, he orbits, he competes for scraps of validation from women who'll never commit to him. Why? Because he's been sold a lie. That devotion alone is enough. Schopenhauer saw the trap long before dating apps and the modern Me Too. Women are systematically trained to be incapable of genuine love. This sounds harsh until you realize what he meant. Female love is conditional. It's tied to utility. A man isn't cherished for who he is, but for what he provides. The moment he stops providing, the love fades. This isn't cynicism.
It's like the gold diggers revelation, like when the man stops providing. But you have to define what kind of thing the man have to provide, like security, and just money, or what exactly men should provide by the Schopenhauer's point of view.
It's survival. Women are hardwired to seek the best possible mate. If a man stagnates, she will resent him. If he falls behind, she will replace him. And modern society, it cheers her on. Schopenhauer divided men into two categories, those who serve and those who are served. The beta male exhausts himself trying to prove his worth. The alpha commands worth effortlessly. One begs for loyalty. The other inspires obsession. You see this everywhere. The office worker who sacrifices his health for a promotion, hoping it'll make his wife respect him again. The gym rat who transforms his body only to realize women now want him, but only for sex, not commitment. The simp who spends his paycheck on a girl who'll ghost him the second a higher status man appears. These men aren't victims, they're volunteers. But Schopenhauer didn't just diagnose the problem, he revealed the solution. The first rule of survival is to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. The man who thrives today isn't the one who clings to outdated romanticism. It's the one who masters the game. And the final truth? The game is rigged, but only if you're playing by the wrong rules. This is where most men give up, because the next truth is the hardest to swallow. It's not about women, it's about you.
Huh.
And the moment you face it, everything changes. Schopenhauer uncovered a disturbing truth that modern psychology now confirms. Women don't compete like men. They don't challenge you directly. They don't flex their power where you can see it. Their greatest weapon is invisible, instinctive, and devastatingly effective: emotional influence. While men fight with fists or logic, women wage war through perception. They don't conquer. They manipulate reality itself. Consider this. When a man wants something, he demands it. When a woman wants something, she makes you believe it was your idea. Schopenhauer saw this clearly.
It's effective by manipulating the man. Women are really powerful creatures.
Women are adapted to a sedentary life by their lack of physical strength, and to the care of children by their natural inclination. Hence, they live more in the present than men. But this present moment focus gives them a dangerous advantage. They read micro-expressions, tone shifts, and social dynamics with near supernatural accuracy. A man thinks he's having a conversation. A woman is conducting an interrogation. Modern men believe they're in control of their relationships. They're wrong. From the first date to the divorce papers, women guide the interaction through subtle tests. Most men fail without realizing it. The compliance test, how quickly you rearrange your schedule for her. The frame test, whether you stand your ground or cave to her emotions. The investment test, if you chase more than she does. Schopenhauer warned, women are instinctively crafty and have an innate talent for deception. This isn't evil, it's evolutionary programming. In a world where physical strength didn't secure survival, emotional intelligence became the ultimate currency. The woman who couldn't navigate male psychology didn't pass on her genes. Here's where modern men walk blindly into the trap. They confuse a woman's attention for genuine interest. But Schopenhauer revealed the dark reality. Women are most drawn to men who don't need them. The moment you make a woman,
yeah, that's a famous statement, like when the girl is obsessed by someone, she's mostly obsessed by the guy who is not into the girl. I mean, it's partially truth, but I don't think that's always the truth. Like, when I think it should be mutual, like the relationships and stuff. So if it is not mutual, the long-term commitment is not possible.
Purpose is the moment she loses respect for you. This explains why nice guys finish last, why marriages crumble after men sacrifice their ambitions, why women...
Of course, it's never an option to sacrifice its ambitions over anybody. It's just not works like this. If the man sacrifices his ambitions and aims in life, the girl just drops him. That's it. Because she's not feel secure.
Women pursue emotionally unavailable men. It's not that women want to be treated poorly. They're biologically wired to seek men of higher value, and nothing destroys perceived value faster than neediness. Every interaction with a woman.
But anyway, just being an emotionally unavailable will also turn the girl off, because if you are not showing the interest towards the girl, she will just walk away and will find the partner who is strong emotionally as well, but actually interested in her. So it's a bad idea to actually act like the man who doesn't want all of these relationships, who is lying to himself like, oh no, this I don't need girls, I don't need anything. Just it's if you like in someone, and if you actually want to express it, you can express it. That's completely fine, but don't be needy. Don't be too much emotionally validation seeking. That's it. Don't do extremes.
Contains an unspoken power struggle. Most men lose before they realize the battle began.
But of course, I'm not the best advisor in these cases, because I don't have the long-term relationships in my life. So yeah, it's better to not listen me here, but still I can express my thoughts.
Cries to avoid accountability. She withholds affection to train compliance. She flirts with others to test your confidence. Schopenhauer called this the tyranny of the weak. Women leverage their perceived vulnerability to control stronger adversaries. A man who falls for it becomes a slave. A man who recognizes it, he becomes unstoppable. But there's hope. Schopenhauer's most liberating truth is this: the first step to freedom is seeing the chains. Once you understand female nature isn't personal, it's biological, you stop taking it personally. You stop begging for loyalty and start inspiring it. The final lesson: the most dangerous lies aren't the ones women tell men. They're the ones men tell themselves.
Oh, actually, that's wise.
Schopenhauer's most devastating revelation wasn't about women. It was about the cold, unflinching reality of human nature itself. After exposing the brutal truths of attraction and power dynamics, he offered something far more valuable: the path to liberation.
Okay,
this isn't about defeating women. It's about transcending the game entirely. Modern men make one fatal error. They believe happiness comes from female validation.
Just happiness itself, the concept is quite broken. Like, happiness is basically what people are usually describing. From my just personal perspective, it's when the person temporarily feels like he's on the top of the world and feels really really energetic and so on, but it not lasts forever. It's also emotional and biological state of the mind and body when you're just feeling better. That's it. That's from my perspective what happiness is, and it cannot be just seeked for most of the time. Happiness is really temporarily emotional and biological state, so it's better to seek some sort of the stability and accomplish your own goals.
Schopenhauer saw through this illusion. The happiness which we receive from ourselves is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings. The men who thrive aren't those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. They develop a purpose so consuming, so intrinsically rewarding, that female attention becomes a pleasant bonus rather than a life or death necessity.
Okay.
History's most remarkable men, the artists, the inventors, the warriors, weren't distracted by the chase. They were too busy building empires. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. 1. Economic sovereignty. Schopenhauer warned that money is human happiness in the abstract, not for what it buys, but for the freedom it secures.
Yeah, money equals freedom. Money equals our basically time worth and life worth. If you are not earning as much money, and if you're okay with it, that's okay. But basically, the money shows how worth you are in the society. How much can you afford? How worth your time is. So yeah, don't agree on the low paychecks. Don't underestimate yourself.
The man who controls his finances controls his fate. 2. Philosophical depth. Most men live on autopilot. The exceptional man cultivates a mind sharp enough to cut through societal lies. He reads, debates, and thinks for himself.
Yeah,
3.
True.
Physical mastery. The body isn't just a tool for attraction, it's the vessel of your will. Weakness here breeds weakness everywhere. Here's where Schopenhauer's wisdom becomes revolutionary. The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy.
Yes, exactly. That's what am I talking about. You shouldn't rely on happiness at all. It's just too unreliable state to be chased. Actually, it shouldn't be chased. Your own goal should be chased out of the being just happy little guy to just see all these flowers in the world and maybe do some illegal substances to be happy and be in that state of mind. That's so miserable.
This isn't pessimism. It's emotional armor. The modern man who stops begging for love, approval, or fairness suddenly finds these things come to him. Why? Because he's removed himself from the desperate masses. He's become the prize. The battle between men and women isn't personal. It's biological theater playing out across millennia. The man who wakes up to this stops blaming and starts evolving. He doesn't resent female nature. He adapts to it. He builds a life so compelling that women must either meet his standards or watch from the sidelines. Schopenhauer's ultimate lesson? We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. The choice is yours. Continue chasing illusions or step into your true power. The red pill isn't about hating women. It's about loving truth enough to rebuild yourself in its image. This is where your real life begins.
Yeah, I don't like red pill movement. It's too virgin-minded minded thing. Red pill is like all of these ultra left LGBTs who are always just begging for attention and trying to attack everything. They disagree with. Okay, let's look on this one. I suddenly has been recommended with the video of the witchcraft, and the title is "Every Type of Magic Explained in 9 Minutes." Okay. High magic cast divination, necromancy, shadow, blood magic, green, sex magic. Sex magic? Okay. That is continuation of the last video, pretty much, the sex magic.
High magic, this is also known as ceremonial magic, is one of the most structured and spiritual forms of magical practice. Unlike folk magic, which is often practical and grounded in everyday needs, high magic is focused on higher truths like enlightenment, cosmic alignment, and the transformation of the self. It's often described as the magician's path to understanding the divine order of the universe at its core.
I'm not the believer of the magic and all of these stuff, but I'm believing in that the person, if he believes in something really, really badly, he can sort of create this state for itself and leave the new truth, something like this. So all of these rituals and all of these kind of things are just meant to make the new values, new truths for the society, and the pagan people actually seen the world like there are not just fairy creatures and some creatures who are out of our perception, but the world is just segmented by the different gods, and the gods are actually the parts of this world, and they cannot be taken from it. They just representing some of the human's nature and world's nature. So it's not only just explanation of the world, but also the really wise just the really wise way of thinking.
High magic relies on rituals, and not just casual ones. These rituals are detailed, symbolic, and often based on ancient systems. Practitioners use sacred tools like wands, swords, chalices, and pentacles. They wear ritual robes, chant invocations, and align their ceremonies with planetary movements. Every gesture and word is thought to hold spiritual power, mirroring the macrocosm of the universe. High magic is also deeply philosophical. It draws from traditions like Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and even alchemy. The practitioner isn't just casting spells, they're studying the very fabric of reality. The goal isn't quick results, it's divine union, spiritual awakening, and the pursuit of what's called the great work, the process of perfecting the human soul. Some famous systems of high magic include the theurgy of the Neoplatonists, Enochian magic developed by John Dee and Edward Kelly, and the Golden Dawn rituals, which form the basis of much of modern ceremonial magic. Kabbalistic magic also plays a huge role, especially with its use of divine names and the tree of life as a map of the soul. Chaos magic. This right here is one of the most radical and experimental forms of modern magic. It doesn't follow any fixed tradition, sacred book, or ancient rule. Instead, chaos magic teaches that belief itself is a tool, something you can use, change, or discard depending on what gets results. It's less about what's true and more about what works. Unlike ceremonial magic, which is rooted in ritual and structure, chaos magic is DIY spirituality. Practitioners can borrow symbols from anywhere: Christianity, pop culture, ancient runes, even video games, and fuse them into a personal system. What matters is the magician's intent, focus, and belief in the moment. At the heart of chaos magic is the idea that reality is malleable, shaped by will and perception. If you believe a symbol has power and you act like it does, it will. The classic example is sigil magic, where you create a symbol from your desire.
It's like the world of the Warhammer 40k, when something, when the masses are believing in something that creates the chaos god or the emperor's powers or something like this.
Charge it with emotion.
But I would not say that these. Why this person is holding the finger? What the hell is happening? Just yeah. If somebody will believe in something really much, that's not necessarily will happen. But if the person will act towards something realistic and work on it, really, just really systematically, it can reach it.
Then forget it and let it work in your subconscious. Chaos magicians also play with identity. Some adopt temporary personas or god forms, others use absurd rituals or contradictions to break the brain's patterns and spark real change. Divination, this is the ancient practice of seeking knowledge, insight, or guidance through supernatural or symbolic means. It's not about predicting a fixed future, but about tapping into patterns, energies, or unconscious wisdom to make sense of what's hidden, whether it's in the present, past, or potential future. Throughout history, people have turned to divination to make decisions, understand signs, or communicate with higher powers. So basically, divination works on the belief that everything is connected, that the universe leaves traces, and by reading those traces, we can glimpse deeper truths. These messages might come through patterns in cards, the movement of the stars, the flight of birds, or even random objects like tea leaves or bones. Yeah, so there are countless forms of divination across cultures, from tarot cards that use archetypal imagery to reflect the querent's inner journey. Astrology maps the positions of planets to uncover personality traits or cosmic timing. Runes, palmistry, pendulums, I Ching, and scrying are all tools used to access the unseen. Some diviners believe they're channeling spirits, ancestors, or divine forces. Others see divination as a mirror of the subconscious, where intuition speaks through symbols and randomness. Either way, the process becomes a dialogue between the seeker and the unseen world. In the end, it kind of just offers clarity, not certainty, and sometimes that's exactly what we need. Blood magic. This is one of the oldest and most controversial forms of magical
seeking. Basically, it's the seeking the order in something which is not designed to be in order. So it's basically the code to make to calm down yourself and see that these tarot cards are showing that your life will be somewhat like this. So it's just making life more predictable and concrete.
And sometimes that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Blood magic. This is one of the oldest and most controversial forms of magical practice. It operates on the belief that blood is a life force, a powerful sacred essence that carries energy, identity, and intent. Because blood is so intimately connected to the body and soul, using it in rituals is seen as a direct way to charge spells with intense personal power. In many ancient cultures, blood was used in offerings, sacrifices, and rites of passage. From Aztec rituals to Old Testament sacrifices, it was believed to please the gods or open spiritual gateways. In modern occultism, blood magic isn't usually about sacrifice, but about using small drops of one's own blood to seal pacts, empower sigils, or bind energy to a magical working. Practitioners often treat blood as a binding agent, a way to tie themselves to the spell's outcome. This makes blood magic incredibly potent, but also dangerous if done carelessly. It demands intention, respect, and responsibility, since what's powered by blood is often harder or almost impossible to reverse. Because of its intensity, blood magic is often associated with darker occult traditions, though it can also be found in protective and healing rites too. To some, it's a taboo. To others, it's simply the rawest form of offering, the ultimate symbol of commitment and sacrifice. Green magic. This is a nature-based form of magic that focuses on the energy of the earth, plants, and the natural world. Also known as herbal magic or earth magic, it is deeply rooted in the belief that the natural world holds sacred power, wisdom, and healing. Practitioners of green magic work in harmony with nature, using herbs, flowers, roots, and the cycles of the moon and seasons to craft spells, potions, and charms. This form of magic is often gentle, nurturing, and protective. It's commonly used for healing, fertility, abundance, grounding, and creating peace. Green magic also encourages sustainability, mindfulness, and reverence for the earth. It's not about commanding nature, but about listening to it, working with it, and understanding its cycles.
This picture is so weird. Why is he... why is he holding this finger? I think that has been made by the AI. Just why it should be drawn like this? It's so weird.
With it and understanding its cycles. Necromancy. This is one of the oldest and most feared forms of magic, centered on communication with the dead. Often misunderstood as simply raising corpses or summoning spirits for evil purposes, necromancy in its deeper form is about accessing hidden knowledge, divining the future, or even seeking guidance from ancestors. The word comes from the Greek nekros, dead, and manteia, divination, literally divination by the dead. In ancient cultures, necromancers were not always seen as sinister. In fact, in places like Mesopotamia, Greece, and among some tribal societies, speaking with the dead was a respected spiritual practice. The dead were believed to retain access to divine realms or secret wisdom, and necromancy was the bridge to that hidden world. Traditional necromantic practices often involved rituals at burial sites, the use of grave dirt, bones, or objects tied to the deceased. Some rites used blood
offerings. Like in the ancient Egypt, the necromancy or all of these practices were really respected and sacred to mummify the pharaohs, and not only. And these kind of rituals are well known.
Offerings, trance states, or even invocations to summon a spirit into a vessel, a mirror, or a dream. In medieval and Renaissance grimoires, necromancy became more feared, linked with demons, forbidden pacts, and the darker side of ceremonial magic. This shift painted the necromancer as a sorcerer consorting with unholy forces. But not all necromancy is dark. In modern occultism, necromancy can also mean ancestor veneration, spirit work, or mediumship. Shadow magic. This is a form of mystical practice centered on confronting, integrating, and wielding the hidden, repressed, or darker aspects of the self. Shadow magic embraces the duality of
the Jungian theory of personalities and shadow self.
Human nature, understanding that true power comes not just from purity, but from self-awareness and balance. At its core, shadow magic is deeply psychological and spiritual. It draws from Jungian concepts of the shadow self. The parts of ourselves we deny, avoid, or bury. Through rituals, meditation, and symbolic work, practitioners use magic to explore fear, guilt, trauma, desire, and even taboo. The goal is not destruction or domination, but transformation. Practicing shadow magic might involve mirror work, dream analysis, journaling, sigil crafting, or working with archetypes and spirits that reflect aspects of the subconscious.
It's basically just the psychology type of thing. Except that maybe writing the sigils, just basically you are working on their knowing yourself better.
Conscious. Though often misunderstood as dark or evil, shadow magic isn't all about causing harm. It's about facing what most people run from, making peace with the monsters inside so they don't control us from the shadows. In doing so, the practitioner becomes whole, grounded, and far more powerful. Sex magic. This is a powerful form of occult practice that uses sexual energy as a tool for manifestation, transformation, and spiritual awakening. At its core, it's based on the idea that sexual energy is one of the most potent life forces available to us, capable of not just physical creation, but energetic and magical creation.
I didn't know about this magic even.
As well. Practitioners of sex magic believe that during sexual arousal, especially at the moment of orgasm, the mind becomes highly focused and the veil between the conscious and subconscious thins. This makes it the perfect moment to plant intentions, charge sigils, or direct energy toward a magical goal. The energy released during orgasm is seen not just as pleasure, but as fuel, a raw, sacred power that can be used to shape reality.
Okay, just don't take it to the extreme. Shape the reality. Japanese art is way scarier than you think. Let's see. Yeah, I know that Japanese art is quite scary.
This image that looks like it came straight out of a nightmare was made by the same artist who painted the Great Wave of Kanagawa.
I know this painting. I saw it on the exhibition. I mean the reproduction of this painting.
And by the way, that wave isn't as innocent as it seems.
Yeah?
If you read it the Japanese way, from right to left, it's not a wave about to strike. It's a wave that already has. The boats are lost. Everything is silent. That same silence runs through Hokusai's other works. But this time, there are no waves, only ghosts, floating heads, skeletons rising from the water, an entire series dedicated to the afterlife.
Oh gosh.
But why would a genius like Hokusai create something like this? Long before horror movies or Stephen King stories existed, Japan already had its own way of summoning fear. It was called a Hyaku Monogatari, which literally means 100 ghost stories.
Yeah, no wonder why there are so many horrors on the Japanese folk culture. Japan has really deep culture into the scaring people in so many weird ways.
The tradition was as simple as it was chilling. A group of people would gather at night, light 100 candles, and take turns telling tales of spirits, apparitions, and curses. With each story told, one candle would be extinguished, and when the final flame went out, it was said that something from the other world could appear. It wasn't just a game, it was a ritual, a way to connect with the beyond, and Hokusai was fascinated by it. Instead of telling these stories with words, he chose to draw them. He took these folk legends, twisted them through his unmistakable style, and created a small series of prints that feel like they came from a dream, or rather a hallucination. These weren't just illustrations. Each image is a story on its own.
Oh my god.
You don't need to read anything to feel that something is there, something that shouldn't be. And that's what we're about to explore.
Chills.
How an artist, nearly 80 years old and facing death, found inspiration in the darkest tales of his culture to create something truly unforgettable.
Yeah, this
The story of
really
Oiwa is
scary.
one of the most well-known tales in kabuki theater and Japanese folklore, and also one of the most tragic. It all starts with a young woman named Ume, who falls in love with a samurai named Yemon, but he's already married to a woman named Oiwa. To get rid of Oiwa, Ume's family gives her a poisoned face cream. It doesn't kill her, but it badly scars her face. When Eamon saw her, he rejected her and abandoned her. Oiwa, consumed by pain and humiliation, went mad. In a fit of delirium, she stumbled and accidentally fell onto a sword. Before dying, she cursed Eamon, and the curse didn't take long to unfold. Legend says her spirit began to haunt him, appearing in visions, mirrors, dreams, and in paper lanterns. And that's exactly...
Yeah... I don't think he done something really bad. Just appearance is really important in the relationships, but I think it will be better to curse the person who actually poisoned. Although all of the substance which the victim consumed.
Exactly what Hokusai depicts in this image. A lantern hanging from a cord with a deformed, ghostly face emerging from within. There's no body, no setting, just Oiwa's face trapped inside, as if her spirit had been sealed there forever. Hokusai doesn't exaggerate. There's no blood, no drama. He simply lets the face speak for itself. An open, asymmetrical mouth, a wrinkled face twisted to one side with a blank, lifeless expression. The story of Kohara Koheiji has all the elements of a tragedy, with a twist that turns it into a nightmare with dark humor. Koheiji was a kabuki actor who specialized in playing ghost roles, but in real life, his fate was even more gruesome. His wife, tired of him, started an affair with another man. Together, they plotted to get rid of Koheiji, murdered him, and threw his body into a pond. So far, it sounds like just another crime, but Koheiji didn't stay dead. According to legend, his spirit came back, and not quietly. He returned as a skeleton rising from the water, determined to haunt his wife and her lover until they lost their minds. In Hokusai's print, we see that exact moment.
Skeleton.
A humanoid skeleton,
Literally.
covered in algae and still dripping wet, peeks through the frame of a sliding door. He's smiling, but it's not a friendly smile. It's an exaggerated, almost mocking grin, like he's enjoying the terror he's about to cause. And this is where Hokusai's brilliance shows. While the image is undeniably creepy, it also carries a hint of cruel humor. Koheiji isn't a tragic ghost like Oiwa. He's a sarcastic apparition, a vengeful joke. Hokusai never stopped drawing. Not in old age, not in poverty, not even when he was sick, not even when death was already at his heels. At the age of 73, he wrote something that still amazes.
For the ancient times, that is a really old age, the 70. Oh my gosh. Even for now, it feels like it's a really old age, and he lived really long.
Is those who study his work. He said, "Since the age of 6, I had the habit of drawing the shape of things. By 50, I had produced some works of real substance. At 73, I began to understand the true structure of animals, insects, and fish. At 100, I will be a true artist. And if I live to 110, everything I create, every dot, every line, will be alive." He didn't say this as an exaggeration. He truly believed it. For him, drawing wasn't a job. It was a way to get closer to the essence of things, and perhaps a way to keep one foot in this world and one in the next. He died at the age of 88, and in those final years, when he knew his time was running out, his art changed. He moved away from serene landscapes and theatrical scenes and turned towards something rawer, more intimate. He began to draw ghosts, apparitions, skeletons, not as a commercial gesture, but as a need. It's said that in his last days, even bedridden, he would still ask for paper and brush. He wanted to keep drawing, even from his bed, as if one more line could hold on to life a little longer, or prepare him for what was coming. That's why these prints aren't just depictions of horror, they're part of his farewell, his way of imagining.
By seeing all of these pictures, I'm feeling really unwell. I'm looking especially on the demon here. He's smiling is really cunning and provocative.
What lies beyond. Hokusai didn't just paint the dead, he spoke with them, and though he never reached 100, his legacy makes you wonder if in a way he did. Because there's something in these drawings that still feels alive, something that cannot be erased. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Now tell me in the comments, which of these prints disturbed you the most? Or which one did you find the most fascinating?
Yeah, this exactly. The demon disturbed me the most. His smile and these two teeth.
Fascinating. I
really
read
making
everything you
me
write, and I love when
unwell
conversations start
here.
around these artworks. And if you enjoy these journeys into the darker side of art, I've
And
already
this
got
thing
more
is
videos
also
coming that are just as unsettling. So if you haven't
quite
already,
unsettling,
make sure to
yeah.
subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And if you'd like to have some of these prints in your own collection, check out the link I've left in the description. You can
Okay.
buy your favorite artwork, along with over 500 hand-picked pieces to choose from and collect. Shipping is completely free worldwide, and every purchase helps support the channel so I can...
Okay, I'm gonna go for now, for about 20 minutes, so stay tuned. 1 2 1 2. I'm here. I am here and ready for another 2 hours. Just the starting stream is quite hard for me because it's going in early mornings and I'm not eating before the streams, and I have to eat and cook food really fast to actually set it up before I will stream. So yeah, it is quite tiresome, but it's still fine. So yeah, let's watch some other stuff. I watched news, I watched drama, I watched some occult, even pieces, even stuff. Let's have a break on the shorts break. Gosh, this AI is making me really think that what will happen next, like what next step for the AI, just pure content creation with an AI with not differentiating what is AI and what is not. Damn.
Almost everything we think we know about addiction is wrong. You get a rat and you put it in a cage and you give it 2 water bottles. One is just water and the other is water laced with either heroin or cocaine. If you do that, the rat will almost always prefer the drugged water and almost always kill itself quite quickly. In the 70s, Professor Alexander comes along and he looks at this experiment and he noticed something. He said, we're putting the rat in an empty cage. It's got nothing to do except use these drugs. Let's try something a bit different. So Professor Alexander built a cage that he called Rat Park. They've got loads of cheese, they've got loads of colored balls, they've got loads of tunnels. Crucially, they've got loads of friends. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, they don't like the drugged water. You go from almost 100% overdose when they're isolated to 0% overdose when they have happy and connected lives. What if addiction isn't about your chemical hooks? What if addiction is about your cage? What if addiction is an adaptation to your environment? Maybe we shouldn't even call it addiction. Maybe we should call it bonding. Human beings have a natural and innate need to bond. And when we're happy and healthy, we'll bond and connect with each other. But if you can't do that because you're traumatized or isolated or beaten down by life, you will bond with something that will give you some sense of relief. Now, that might be gambling, that might be pornography, that might be cocaine, that might be cannabis, but you will bond and connect with something because
yeah, pornography, I think it's the less damaging the other stuff which he called.
That's our nature. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Almost everything we...
Interesting, actually. Didn't think about it that way.
Как работает шизофрения? Поясняю на котятах. Котенок...
This almost looks fake. I've never seen such a perfect looking stick.
Stick,
That
fine.
spiral is not like anything
Whoa.
I've ever seen in a stick. And how
Holy
straight
shit,
the
that
stick is.
stick. It's like the Merlin stick.
Das ist das Gerät, Alter. Mashallah, schau dir mal an, wie perfekt das ist, Digga. Pauz, Digga, Pauz.
This beautiful stick? Like
Holy shit, this hammer stick.
Stick I found at the bottom of the lake, and it looks a little bit like a wizard's staff.
Yeah. Men are simple creatures. They're finding the interesting sticks. Holy shit!
This almost looks.
The last guy going straight into a secret endgame boss battle. Probably with Hydra or with the sea creature. Holy fuck. I like the first stick though. First stick looks like a staff
Such a perfect
which infused with
stick.
magic.
That spiral is not like anything I've ever seen in a stick.
Holy
and how straight
shit.
the stick is.
Yeah, and it's straight as well. So cool. Why is he Slavic? Holy fucking shit. I knew that she is hot in the in the cartoon, but holy my god. Stop making I understand this guy right now. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, I'm making these girls that are so hot. Actually, Carl is not looking bad here. He's looking quite quite muscular even, sort of. What the hell? He's trying to seduce a mom here. So happy guy. Oh, dogs. So cute. Now I can see why Carl wants Jimmy's mom. Exactly. Jimmy's mom is someone else, something else, really. But even in the cartoon, she's quite hot. But in the AI realization, she's just on the top. Carl is also looking not bad here at all. Not on this shot, but on this shot, he's fine. They got the death with his ducks perfect. So funny guy.
Speed versus asshole. Let's get this shit right. It's over for him. Time to dust his ass, bro.
Это новый российский паспорт.
This is a day in the life of a German. I wake up at my situationship's house after a long night of charging and unplug. For breakfast, we have sauerkraut. Today, we went with a small plate. After that,
What is
it's time.
situationships even? It's just an occasional relationships or just the friends with the benefits or what is this?
Time for a football match. I pull out my German flag for the exact duration of the game, then immediately put it away. After that, I go to work. I talk on the phone with a client from Berlin. We speak the official language of Berlin.
Hey, how's it going today, sir?
English. For lunch, I have my favorite traditional
I thought it's Turkish.
German dish. Duna. Then I see something I cannot comprehend. Someone crosses the street at a red light. This is not possible. It overloads my processor and I need water to cool down. After work, I like to make sport. Today is anterior delt day. At 1800, it's time for my daily dose of Schadenfreude. I see that my neighbor Klaus has received a parking ticket from the police. Looks like you're not so perfect now. At 20 o'clock, I think about telling my situationship that I love her. But in Germany, you're only allowed to say I love you 2 or 3 times in your whole life, and I don't feel like wasting one right now. At 2200 o'clock, I power down for the night, and that's my day. This is a day in the life of a German. I wake up
As a German, I can confirm that. Is 99% accurate, but I don't want to give you the 100% because you would be too perfect and make me jealous. The way she knew.
Can I come home from
was her
work one
husband.
day and it just be normal? What is that? Is that real?
It's so cute.
Are you serious? Oh my
Little
God.
Jason.
What do you have to say for yourself?
This is Line X, one of the toughest coatings which makes anything super strong as soon as it's sprayed on. Watch this. When a watermelon is dropped from a 45-meter tall tower, it shatters into pieces. But when the same watermelon is coated with Line X and dropped again, it doesn't break. It actually bounces back. If you apply Line X coating even on a tissue, you won't be able to tear it apart even with your full force. Just like this, a normal plastic cup gets crushed just by placing a foot on it. But after applying Line X coating on that same cup, even if someone stands on it, it won't get crushed. Today, Line X is even being used in bulletproof jackets. And now this same coating is being used to make normal cars bulletproof as well. What do you think about this Line X coating? Do let us know in the comments.
What? What is this material even? If it's Compound X, which will be used in the Superhumans later to recreate the boys universe, or what? I hope nobody with ill intentions will have the actual access to this spray and spray themselves with this Line X and try to pretend that they are indestructible. But I mean, that was my first thought, though. But I know that's the bad idea. Or actually making the clothes with this Line X, just the clothes with which will cover all of just all of your body, just Line X clothing. That could work.
We're talking about a real job, Stu, with benefits. I'm not gonna
Getting older is realizing that Stu was suffering from depression.
waste my life as a clock punching, paper pushing, bean counting. Oh, no offense. You barely make ends meet now. You got no insurance, no savings, and another kid on the way.
Hi, Uncle Stu. Sorry,
Oh.
pony's so slow.
We don't have a pony, Angelica.
Then how come you told Mom Aunt Dee got saddled with a loser?
Loser? Excuse me, bro. My tax deductions are crying.
You can't deduct them if you don't have any income.
Stu, what are you
God.
Making chocolate pudding
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
because I've lost control of my life.
Oh my gosh. That's so real. Holy shit. I didn't realize it before that these cartoons are actually partially made for the adults. Even these kind of cartoons. Clever.
Ashley, look at me.
What's a koala bear with no teeth? I don't know what. A gummy bear.
Okay. Are you retarded? I didn't understand it. The pole.
bros start dancing.
Помимо водорослей с грибами.
Kaguya is far stronger than any version of Momoshiki in the series. Let me explain.
Really?
First of all, many people misunderstand Kaguya because of Naruto's statement in anime.
A different entity, even more dangerous and frightening than Kaguya, will make its appearance in this world.
Kaguya would easily is far stronger than any version.
Jesus. This alien turn in Naruto is quite weird.
Так, у меня есть 30 сантиметров члена.
Viu, baby? Vem de ladinho, vem de ladinho, vem de ladinho. Tica-tuca-tuca.
Have you ever seen that video? No. Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorites.
Yes, just like you, sir.
Are you enjoying this country?
No,
Let them have they say, it's okay.
Give me a f***ing gun, I'll shoot you, son.
No, it's okay.
Holy shit.
And look at what I got. I fought for the freedom that they're enjoying. I'm not afraid of any one of them. If I had a gun here now, I'd wipe them all out.
Have you ever seen that video?
He's the best. He's the best for this crowd.
The British man attempting to walk around the entire world without using any cars, planes, or any other mode of transport has just reached a major milestone earlier this month. He has finally passed into Europe. Carl Bushby started the 58,000-kilometer journey 25 years ago at the bottom of South America and has so far made it about
walking around the world. He walked all of
to
this.
his end destination of Hull,
25
in England.
years.
Along the way, he successfully passed through the Darien Gap, the most dangerous stretch of jungle in the world. There are no roads or paths.
What? In the Southern America? No.
And has so far made it about 80%
No, man. That's too dangerous.
of the way around to his end destination of Hull in England. Along the way, he successfully passed through the Darien Gap, the most dangerous stretch.
That's too dangerous. I think that's even closed for the tourists or even locals.
Jungle in the world.
It's
There
a
are
snake-
no roads or
snake
paths, just 200
island
miles
or
of dense
something.
jungle filled with smugglers, gangs, and armed forces.
That's too dangerous.
Nevertheless, he walked his way up into the United States, then heading north into Canada and back into the US again through Alaska. He continued northwards into the Arctic Circle and amazingly passed from America to Russia over a frozen ice bridge in an area known as the Bering Strait, becoming the first man in history to walk from America to Russia. Once on the Russian side, he traveled down through Siberia into Mongolia, then China, and across the rest of Asia. Unfortunately, he ran into an issue last summer at the Caspian Sea. He couldn't walk round the top of it, as that would mean having to go through Russia.
He avoids Russia at all costs. Well, can understand him.
And he couldn't walk round the bottom of it, as that would mean having to go through Iran. Neither of these countries are easy for British citizens to get visas for at the moment. Carl had no time to wait for the situation to
Not
change,
visas.
so last
Visas.
summer he became the first man in history to swim the 259 kilometers right through the middle of the Caspian Sea, from Kazakhstan to
So he's stopping. He's doing the stops and then continuing to walk and doing the vocational stuff and so on. So these 25 years, it's an actually astonishing journey. Yeah, holy shit, man.
You're probably wondering, why is this a $10,000 date?
Why is it?
Gordon Ramsay himself is going to be cooking our meals.
The Gordon Ramsay.
Yep. Come on in.
Show me you winning!
You're probably wondering, why is this a $10,000 date?
Why is it?
Gordon Ramsay himself is going to be cooking our meals.
The Gordon Ramsay.
Yep. Come on in.
Show me you winning!
Show me your willy.
Представьте, вы переродились в фэнтезийном мире, однако не имбовых.
This streamer challenged a famous influencer to a race, but what started as a game spiraled into total chaos. All because before the starting line, Ashton fired off comments that lit a fuse under Speed.
I'm gonna try to talk him out of the race one more time, but I really don't want to embarrass little bro. You know, he's got a lot of things going, bro. His career is booming right now.
And that's why when the race began, Ashton made a mistake no one predicted.
Ready, set, go!
We're leaving this Ashton, dude.
Ashton refused to count that first race as a loss.
I refuse to count even because he has been falling here. What is this, crybaby?
His fall and somehow convinced Speed to give him yet another rematch.
Ready, set, go! It's too slow, it's too slow, it's too slow, too slow, it's too slow.
But
yeah,
after losing Ashton,
Speed is not. Speed is called actually Speed not because of the occasion, but because he's actually really fast.
he didn't just deny defeat. He blamed the grass, forcing Speed into an
Oh my god.
instant road rematch.
Ready, set, go!
Though this round was neck and neck with Speed barely winning, Ashton claimed it was a tie. His refusal
He's so big, crybaby. Oh my god. 3 times Speed beating him, and 3 times he made an excuses to just to say that he's not lost, but something went wrong. So pathetic.
refusal to accept reality sent tension skyrocketing.
Nobody's saying I'm lost. Everybody in chat saying 3-0.
If you were faster, I wouldn't want to race again.
I got all the video angles. You lost all 3 times.
Come on, let's run it.
My chat is always honest. You lost 3 times.
Man's right here said that.
Kill him. I don't even know him.
He's leaving. Remember that.
Because I won 3 times, dumbass. You dumb. That's why I'm leaving.
No, you didn't.
That's why I'm leaving. You're delusional. You scared because all your image is over with.
Exactly, he is so
All his Instagram image is
delusional.
over with. He not fast. You lost 3 times to me.
Come on.
You slow, my boy.
After endless pressure, Speed agreed to race a 4th
Ah,
time. And the
4th
outcome's
time. Holy shit, man.
so absurd, it left the entire internet speechless.
Set, go.
Yeah, this guy is too delusional.
Bye. Clear. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Embarrassing, bro. I'm not even gonna say nothing to you, bro. You see that? That's the speedway. Tell them to get the fuck out of here. Speed game. Bye.
This streamer challenged a famous influencer to a race.
Ashton
But
Hall.
what started as
I don't even know who is he. 4-0. Ashton Hall, let's race until I win. Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have a job?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you watched the show before?
No?
Get on the ladder, I will guess your job.
Okay, sure.
Do you think it's gonna be hard?
Very hard.
My name is Max. What's your name?
Thomas.
Thomas, good to meet you. This is
Likewise.
Steve.
He looks
Nice
classy.
mustache.
Oh, you're
Oh, I like it.
Mustache brothers. Oh.
Yeah.
I will guess your job in 2 minutes. If I fail, you walk away and you never tell me what you do.
All right.
Welcome to the career ladder.
Thank you.
Hope you don't have to hold your bladder because it's time for the...
He's not into this. Jesus, man.
Career ladder? You missed your line. That's okay. Do you love your job?
Oh, yes, very much.
Very much. Is it a Lithuanian job?
No.
No.
Ah,
Where are you
is
from?
he in the
I'm
Lithuania?
from Sweden.
Oh, that is very, very cool. So it's a
Okay.
Swedish job.
No.
Okay. Can you, from what you do, can you get famous
Oh,
or
yes.
rich?
Yes, that too.
Okay, interesting.
He
you
looks
don't know,
rich.
So not famous enough, obviously.
Are you famous for who you are or for what you do?
Probably for what I do, I would say.
Uh-huh. When did you discover this job?
Oh, 30 years ago.
30 years ago?
Yeah.
When you were like 10?
I like you too.
So 30 years ago. Yeah. And is it a popular job? Like, do people do it?
No. More people should do it. That would be better. That's
Really?
kind of my idea, to spread what I do to more people.
The charity?
Okay. Can AI do your job?
No.
All right. If your job was a food, what food would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh my. It would be, I don't know, Italian antipasta.
Antipasta?
Smorgasbord. A plethora of small courses.
Okay. Is it in tech industry?
No.
Food and beverage?
No.
Do you have a degree?
Yes.
Is your degree related to your job?
No.
How many people do you think you've taught or you've reached, like, in your career?
Tens of millions.
Tens of millions?
Yeah, yeah.
You
Is he
wrote
a
a book?
coach?
Yes.
You wrote a book?
Yes.
Did you write like a famous book?
Yes.
Okay,
He's
can I
a
guess
writer,
this one?
though.
Yes.
Swedish. You're a Swedish book writer.
Yes. I'm the most translated Swedish author still alive.
Is it non-fiction?
Yes.
Is it businessy?
A tiny bit.
Oh my god, I feel like I can get it.
Okay.
Is it self-help kind of? Or psychology?
Yes.
Psychology? Economics? Can you describe the cover?
It's 4 characters. There's colors.
Is it different colors?
Yes.
I think I know. Wait, no, it's not Swedish. Surrounded by Idiots?
Yes.
You wrote Surrounded by Idiots?
That's me.
Yeah! What's your last name?
Ericsson.
Oh, Thomas Eriksson.
That's me.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He knew that book?
Good on you.
Excuse me.
That's impressive. Bloodlust is rich. Bloodlust in reach. Between job being censored, the long pause being left in, and the rich last segment. This is the best edited episode yet.
Let me show you another bizarre comment. This is from a man called Patrick Christie's. He calls himself a journalist, and this is what he said.
Okay.
Congratulate India on landing on the dark side of the moon. I would also like to now invite India to return the £2.3 billion foreign aid money that we sent them between 2016 and 2021. You shouldn't be coming to us with your hand out.
If you're going down that road, let's start with reparations. Let's start with the colonial loot. Return that money first. And we have the bill. Some $45 trillion. That's what Britain looted from India between 1765 and 1938. This $45 trillion is about 15 times Britain's GDP. How about London returns this money first?
Women can't do this.
Michael, women can do anything and everything. There's nothing that a woman can't do.
Really? I don't think so.
What is the thing that women can't do that you would like to share?
I don't think that women can work on the metal fabric or just any other hard physical demanding jobs.
What the thing that you want to share about
what the men do.
Feel a little like, I don't know if I should say that. I just don't want to be mad. Okay, I get it. You want, I get what this is all about. You want me to guess the thing that women can't do. You just want me to guess.
He's just staring, and she's doing everything to explain yourself.
No, that's not what it is. I don't.
Oh gosh.
But okay, Michael, you can tell me what it is now. Michael, what is the thing that women can't do? Michael.
Not talk.
She
Women
failed
can't
here.
do this.
She actually failed.
Should we really be doing this? I don't know if I'm ready.
We shouldn't do anything if you're not ready. Let's rejoin our friends. I'll play you a song on my acoustic.
Awesome. Hey, anyone want to light up some dank ganja with me?
No thanks. I'm high on the fun we're having right now. Actually, I have something even better than weed. The word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
And they all went to bed at a reasonable hour and picked up all their litter before leaving!
Wait a minute! You can talk?
Should we really be doing...
They're too good to be killed.
When we drive, what to do if the brakes suddenly
Oh my
fail.
God.
Many people say to drive
It
the
was a
car to the
trampoline.
roadside, crash the guardrail next to you to slow down. Very wrong. Some people say open the door and jump out of the car directly. This is wrong. Very dangerous. Some people will directly pull the handbrake. This is even more wrong. This will cause the vehicle to roll over. Now let me tell you what to do if the brakes fail. Friends who find the video helpful to you, please give me a like. Support
That's
me. The
scary.
brakes fail. Firstly, turn on the hazard warning lights immediately. Let the cars next to you know that your car is having trouble. Then hold the steering wheel firmly with one hand. Prevent vehicle direction deviation. Hold the mechanical handbrake with the other hand. Hold down the button on the handbrake. Pull up and put down repeatedly. Pull up, put down. Pull up, put down. This is a brief braking. Rather than braking suddenly, the vehicle will stop steadily. Have you learned it? Follow me. Learn about cars every day.
Okay. Holy shit.
When we drive.
On the reverse bear hug. What the fuck is he doing? Just trolling the guy with his bear. Stop doing this.
How was your day today?
Fine.
It was good? You need help with anything?
No.
You sure?
No.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. I'm not throwing them.
Who is?
That was my granddad. I was just getting food for him, some pizza pockets.
A few moments later.
Stop doing this. It's so embarrassing. What? Stop. Toilet paper is flying in the shop.
Yo, check her out. You are so in. Go talk to her. Okay, I got this. Hey, I love your shoes.
They're my sisters.
Cool. Well, I saw you from across the bar and just wanted to say hi.
Okay.
Anyways, do you live around here?
Why?
Just wondering. Can I buy you a drink?
I don't drink. She's allergic.
Maybe you have a hobby or an interest, something we might have in common.
I don't know. It's possible.
Do you like living?
Sometimes.
Okay, cool. Well, enjoy your night.
Oh my god, he was so cute! You guys will make the perfect couple!
Gotta go. Not good. I guess I wasn't her type. Yeah, let's just get out of here. Cool.
Wait, where's he going?
What a
It's okay, you're too pretty for him anyway.
Men these days don't know what they want.
It happened out of nowhere. A 15-year-old killer smiled in court and said,
15-year-old
I just wanna tell
killer?
y'all, I'll be
Oh
home
my
soon.
God.
R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
But the judge's ruling would
Fuck
soon
him.
wipe that smile right off his face. 32-year-old Kenneth White was driving
Hope
his van on the
he's
interstate.
set in jail
when
for
suddenly,
life.
A 7-pound rock flew down from an overpass, striking White in the head and chest. Father of 4 died
Oh
instantly.
my
Perpetrators were 4
God.
teenagers, aged between 15 and 17. In court, they yelled and danced around, thinking they'd soon be released because of their young age. When their defense lawyer tried to convince the judge to prosecute them as juveniles, the judge firmly denied the request, saying,
The proposal for juvenile they should be really much punished. They should be
now
punished.
these teenagers will be tried as adults, facing
Of course.
potential life sentences. Do
Life
you support the
sentences.
judge's decision? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Life sentences are the worst are deserved here. What is going on?
Oh my god, dude, are you
It's a
crazy?
green
Get
screen.
off the tracks. I can't, dude. I'm literally tied down. Damn it. What are you doing, dude? Get away from the tracks.
I'm gonna cut you loose.
No, get out of here. It's not worth risking your life.
Damn, if the ropes are tight, I can cut them easier. I need you to push up.
No, I've already tried my best, and if you don't leave right now, you're gonna get hit too.
We can do it. Just push.
There's no point, man. It's over.
Not yet. It's not over yet.
Where are we? Check your pockets. 20-sided die? Can you try to roll 20? Okay. Yeah, man, it's really unlikely. What if you try your best? And that doesn't matter. It's still a 1 in 20 chance. Like, it's not gonna happen. Well, yeah, if you only roll once. What? But if you just keep rolling, you're pretty much guaranteed to get it eventually. Okay, well, what's your point? The only way you guarantee you lose is if you stop rolling the dice. But if you just keep rolling, there's at least a chance you'll win eventually. But there's still a chance it won't. And at this point, it's almost a guarantee. The train is a few feet away from us. I know. I think we can do it. But no! Dude, you gotta trust me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, success is more about how much you try and different ways of doing something.
Do you know the difference between the dice and real life? With the dice, your odds never changed. It's always 1 out of 20. But after I cut the first rope, all the other ones got looser, making it a lot easier for us to get out. Because in real life, the more you roll the dice, the better your odds become. You can accomplish pretty much anything by just not quitting.
So I should gamble?
No. I would probably stick to games that you get better at the longer you play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The commitment wins here.
What is the poorest country in the world?
Africa.
What is the poorest country in the world?
Africa.
What is the poorest?
He's like that.
What is the poorest
Wakanda.
country in the world?
Africa.
What is the poorest?
Well, Africa has some richer and poorer places like everywhere, but I don't think that Africa is. I mean, some countries in Africa are that rich.
Девочки решили оставить уборщице в Турции пару долларов на чай, но то, что она вытворила, рассмешило всех.
I've killed your sensei. I've killed your girlfriend. And you still don't hate me? Hate will only cause more pain. Dr. Bayou. Very well. Hey there! Anybody in the mood for some Ichiraku ramen? I've killed your...
Не бойся получить в нос.
It's Friday, guys. As promised, we're finally moving out of the apartment into a normal house. Let's go inside. I'll give you guys a brief little house tour.
Holy
Not a little
shit, that's
rice
fine.
gum or one of these phase boys that tries to like flex. This is nothing crazy, but it is a really nice house, in my opinion.
A really
So,
nice
check it out.
house.
I'll give you guys a little brief tour. So let's get into it. First up, guys, we've got this little office space here / reading nook. We're gonna throw some bookcases over here on this wall. It's gonna be a great spot to be educated. Now, if you guys
I like
follow me,
it. I don't know,
we've got a little
Sterling.
guest bathroom.
He explains really well.
And then
Such
our
known
living room
cases.
space / kitchen, which, by the way, guys, this has got to be the largest fridge that I've ever seen. Like, I'm not a small dude. I know you guys think I'm like 3'8" or whatever the fuck it is. But this is the biggest fridge I've ever seen in my entire life. Completely unexpected, but really, really cool. This is a great little space. There's so much space in here that I can literally...
Oh, he's agile.
Pretty cool. And then standard master bathroom stuff, toilets, and a walk-in closet that I will
He's
not
flexing
ever see
every
my-
time he's going when he's going into the new room.
Here, guys, as you guys can hear, there's a huge ass echo. But we got a nice little gas fireplace, not a real fireplace, and then a vaulted ceiling, which
Holy
is very
shit.
fortunate in this house. You know, we're not trying to spend millions of dollars here, and I can assure you guys this house is not even close to that. Nowhere close to it. We're living in a pretty inexpensive area, which is actually nice, because we're able to buy more for less money. And that's the smart way to go. Always do that.
Flex?
Got a nice little view
Little
down to
flags.
the main entrance area. It's pretty cool. You got
These
this like theater
big
area,
bazookas.
converted into a theater. Put like a little projection screen down, projector right here, pretty cool. And then we have 3
Really nice
identical
house, I like
guest
it.
bedrooms that are going to be converted into closets, and that is where you guys are going to see the videos, the new ones that are coming out. In fact, I might even film a video in here. We'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this unofficial house tour. Maybe I'll give you one when it's furnished, but it's pretty cool, man. I'm excited, very excited. It's Friday, guys, as promised.
Yeah, that was cool.
I feel like myself and most Roblox players just did not expect Grow a Garden out of all games to be this addictive.
What would you say is the biggest thing that separates the middle class from the wealthy?
Okay, hand me that bag.
This millionaire is about to explain the difference between the poor and the rich using a backpack.
If I said, I will sell you this bag for $1,000, what would you say?
Probably no.
That is how a poor person thinks. A rich person would ask, what's inside? Because what if I had $100,000 in cash in this bag? You just lost $99,000 because you simply didn't ask what's inside. Rich people, they worry about what they get, not what it costs. And when they understand what they get, they understand what they stand to lose. Poor people never ask what's inside. They never ask what it's worth. They just ask what it's cost. That's all they care about, and that's why life goes by and it costs them everything.
What would you say is the...
You haven't seen this?
That's him.
I want you to look at our country today. That men have ran, and look at how shit it is.
We're the strongest superpower in the world. What?
No, we're not.
Yeah, we
no,
are.
we're not.
Yeah, we are.
You know, countries are warning their people to stay away from us
What?
because of how shitty we are.
Do you realize people try to come here illegally every single day?
I'm an immigrant.
Where did she immigrate from? Retardistan? Holy.
You haven't seen this?
That's him.
It's
Yeah, that
impossible
was
to
sharp.
fold a piece of paper more than 8 times. To test this myth,
I
Carly
saw
grabbed
this.
a sheet of paper and started
Saw this
folding.
when I
Sure
was a
enough,
kid.
by the 7th fold, the paper was about the size of a smartphone and so thick that it couldn't be folded any further. But what if you used a larger sheet of paper? Could you go beyond 8 folds? So they brought out a 12 by 15 inch sheet to test the idea. The theory was that a larger sheet would be easier to fold. By the 3rd fold, they noticed the paper was shrinking at an incredible rate. By the 7th fold, it took an enormous amount of pressure just to get it to fold. For the 8th fold, they had to use tools to hammer it down. At this point, it seemed the myth was true. To break the curse of the 8th fold, they needed an even bigger piece of paper. The plan? Use a sheet the size of a standard soccer field for the ultimate test. But no single sheet that large exists, so they had to piece one together. After 3 days and nights of
shit.
effort, the world's largest sheet of paper was finally created. The ultimate folding test was about to begin. Everyone lifted one end of the massive sheet and carefully pulled it to the other side. Because of its enormous
They
size,
did it,
every step had to be
as
done
I
with
remember.
caution. They
They did
folded
it,
it down in a
9
precise
times
90-degree direction
with
each
this
time.
shit.
By the 7th fold, the paper had become incredibly heavy. Just one more fold and the myth would be shattered. As expected, the bigger the sheet, the easier it was to fold, at least at first. The myth.
The Harvard psychologist Skinner put a seed dispenser in a cage for pigeons. He trained them so that every time they pecked a button, they got a seed. That's called constant rewards. You press the button, you get food. Press it again, get another seed. The pigeons figured it out and only pecked the button when they were hungry. So far, so good. But then Skinner changed the setup. He reprogrammed the button so that pressing it was like flipping a coin. Sometimes it gave
Gambling?
food, sometimes it
So
didn't.
he invented the gambling. He implied the gambling into the relationships.
Maybe you pressed it once. Nothing. Pressed it again. Still nothing. Then the 3rd time, boom. Seed. What he discovered was that the pigeons started behaving obsessively. They no longer pecked just when they were hungry. They pecked more. Then Skinner made the button
because
even worse.
it's
It started
unpredictable.
working less and less. First, it gave seeds every time. Then 1 out of 3 times. Then 1 out of 10. The pigeons had to work harder for their food, and they got more and more obsessed. They'd peck the button like crazy, even when they weren't hungry. Eventually, he set it so the button only worked 1% of the time. And the pigeons went totally nuts. They pecked at 150 times a minute for 16 hours straight, until they either dropped dead or passed out from exhaustion. What the ugly dude from my high school did with girls was way too similar to what Skinner did with his pigeons. There are 2 key points. First, no pigeon would get obsessed with a button that never worked in the first place. They wouldn't care about it. What drove them crazy was that it used to work, And once they got used to that, it stopped working. Same thing with the girls. No pretty girl would fall for a guy who was mean from day one. But he didn't treat them badly right away. My cousin was one of his victims. At first, she swore up and down she'd never give that ugly guy a chance. But he was persistent. Every day, he'd bring her a little gift. Sometimes he'd stop by her house. He'd always send her a good night message. My cousin got used to his constant attention. She wasn't into him at first. Until one night, he didn't send the good night message. And that was the first night she went to bed thinking about him. Just like Skinner made the button stop working and the pigeons went
Push and
crazy,
pull
my
strategy.
classmate slowly changed his behavior. He gave her less and less attention, and my cousin started losing it. She couldn't understand why he was acting differently. Sometimes he'd forget to say goodnight. Sometimes he didn't stop by her classroom or bring her anything. She didn't get why her little attention dispenser had stopped working. She had gotten used to being kind of cold with him. But now, she was the one texting first, and he'd take longer and longer to reply. Sometimes he just left her on red. Things got worse and worse. She became more and more desperate for his attention, and he cared less and less. My classmate in high school was
Actually, that's gonna work.
My classmate in high school was ugly, but girls were obsessed
Practical
with him, and
psychology.
he were pigeons. He trained them so that every time they pecked a button, 1 out of 3 times, then 1 out of 10. The pigeons had to work harder for their food. At first, she swore up and down she'd never to him at first, until one night, he didn't send the goodnight message. And that was the first night she went to bed thinking about him. Just like Skinner made the button stop working and the pigeons went crazy, my classmate slowly changed his behavior. He gave her less and less attention, and my cousin started losing it. She couldn't understand why he was acting differently. Sometimes he'd forget to say goodnight. Sometimes he didn't stop by her classroom or bring her anything. She didn't get why her little attention dispenser had stopped working. She had gotten used to being kind of cold with him. But now, she was the one texting first, and he'd take longer and longer to reply. Sometimes he just left her on red. Things got worse and worse. She became more and more desperate for his attention, and he cared less and less. I remember her saying,
And the worst part is, he's so ugly.
in the end, my cousin completely lost her mind. She texted him even when he left her on red. And when he left her on red, she called him. Once she even went to knock on his door. She's gorgeous. Just like all his exes and like so many girls from our school. Left totally wrecked like pigeons, hooked on a button that used to give attention, then became unpredictable and finally stopped working. Now, this kind of trick does work, but only in the short term. If you want a woman to truly admire you, there are no shortcuts. You need to focus on your habits. This book isn't cheap, but man, I wish I'd had it before I turned 30. It shows you how changing just a few key habits, if you're consistent, can help you build a great body and get your finances on track. And you realize you can trust yourself. You don't need psychological tricks to win anyone over. The book is called Atomic Habits, and in this video, I'll show you how to download it for free.
For free? Amazon for free? Okay, I'll save it. I'll save it for future. How counts cold Africa? Sold Africa, yeah.
Which is
that is an influencer who, or not an influencer, but the guy who is actually promised to make the next Wakanda, invent the big project in Africa, which has been connected with crypto, and spoiler alert, it didn't happen. And everything is connected with crypto pretty much crumbling in the first months. So, and many things which are connected with crypto are really scammy, so it's better to better to listen with big skepsis. all of that things.
Looking at is the plan for $6 billion
Connected with the crypto.
city in Senegal. A literal utopia that promised to revolutionize Africa. It's supposed to be the most futuristic and sustainable city in Africa.
Akon has his own city.
The media hyped it up, investors backed it, and 2,000 acres of land were handed over by the Senegalese government, officially paving the way for this bold vision to become a reality. By now, the city was supposed to have roads, a hospital, a shopping mall, hotels, a police station, a school, but today, it looks like this.
Of course it.
The project was the brainchild of none other than Akon, the world-famous R&B artist. Was this just an ambitious dream gone wrong? Or was it a well-thought-through scam that stole millions of dollars from innocent people?
When will we receive that money?
Well, that I'm just literally on everything finding out.
Let me tell you a story. Akon is one of the most successful R&B artists of the 21st century.
You know, we reached a point where it seemed like you were on everybody's song. You were on every song.
But over the years, Akon has become more than just that.
Directors, filmmakers, entertainers, it's going to be your job to redefine how people think about Africa.
His commitment to helping African communities has earned him a reputation as a visionary philanthropist, dedicated to grand plans for Africa and shaping a brighter future for the continent.
As an African, I always wanted to be in a position
where he made his wealth in the US, so...
And be able to use my celebrity, use my success in a way where I can help people.
In 2014, he launched Akon Lighting Africa, a project that would bring solar-powered lighting to 250 million people in Africa.
Ça changeait vraiment notre solidarité, parce que s'il n'y avait pas de ce panneau solaire, à 19h, chacun se retrouvait là où se couchait.
By 2020, Akon Lighting Africa had reportedly provided solar energy to 28.8 million people, which is a huge, huge achievement. And for Akon, this was just the beginning.
Are you more of an artist or a businessman these days?
These days, definitely more of a businessman.
Because in 2018, he announced his most daring project yet.
The rapper and entrepreneur has tweeted that he has finalized the agreement for the new city, which will be named as Akon City.
A futuristic metropolis in Senegal, inspired by Marvel's fictional kingdom of Wakanda, an iconic African nation known for its wealth, advanced technology, and rich culture.
When this project came about, it was actually before the movie. But when the movie came, it almost was like a blessing. It's almost like God allowed this movie to be successful.
Akon City would be unlike any other. An eco-friendly, high-tech utopia with skyscrapers, shopping malls, and tourist resorts. There were even plans for a district named Senewood, the new home of Senegal's film and entertainment industry. And with the city came a promise of jobs, tourism, and a better future for Africa.
You know, it's the biggest opportunity in front of us, and the potential here is just immense.
The vision was grand, and the hype was off the charts. But how does one build an entire city from scratch? Well, all grand visions need funding. And in this case, Akon's vision came with a whopping $6 billion price tag. Some questioned how on earth this would be funded, but Akon had a plan. But before we dive into the craziest part about Akon City, I want to tell you about this concept called nose-blind. Thing from Versace to niche brand.
And a city like Akon City is not only going to make the continent advance, but it's also going to advance the mentality of the people living there. Because the moment Africans wake up and understand the power and the resources that we hold, decisions will be made in favor of Africans.
You see, Akon wasn't planning to pay for the city himself. He was looking for private investments. The project was primarily backed by a US-based development firm called KE International. And the lead
it has been funded by the US?
investor was Kenyan entrepreneur Julius Vivali. KE International secured the first $4 billion in funding, which sounds amazing. But the truth is that no one really knows all the details about the funding due to non-disclosure agreements between Akon and his investors. However, what we do know is that there was one more key player bringing the project to life: SAPCO, which is Senegal's state tourism agency, which supported the land acquisition for Akon City and was positioned as a partner in the project.
We're looking at Akon City as to become the beginning of Africa's future.
With names like these involved, the project seemed legitimate. The money was flowing in, the blueprints were set, and Akon City was on track to become a reality. On top of that, Akon had another idea.
The currencies in certain parts of Africa are so untrusted that people were utilizing their mobile minutes to purchase at the local market. So instead of giving the real, like the currency, the local currency, they would just transfer
Crypto.
minutes.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a minute, they're not using money, they're using mobile minutes?
Huh.
And that's what gave me the idea.
Akon is better known as a singer, but he is launching an A-coin cryptocurrency specifically for Africa.
In June of 2018, Akon announced a new crypto.
Did he do the pump and dump strategy? Like almost everyone with those meme coins are doing?
Cryptocurrency, Acoin.
What do you hope that Africans will be able to gain from using this cryptocurrency?
Well, the main thing they'll be able to gain is, independence. And I think being in a position to make your own decision financially is...
Akon claimed that Acoin wouldn't just be another cryptocurrency. It would free Africans from unstable local currencies and corrupt systems.
Well, the cryptocurrency concept was basically my dream and my vision for my legacy is to, build Africa. Take the infrastructure level and just bring it back 20 years ahead. Because right now we're 20 years behind.
In Akon City, people would use it for everything. Buying food, paying for services, and even starting businesses. Acoin launched in November 2020, and regular people started investing their personal savings into it. The value of the coin peaked at $0.58 in February of 2021. And with that, the hope was real, that Acoin will foster a thriving economy. Yet, with all the excitement surrounding the project, something just didn't quite add up. It all just sounded a little too good to be true. And it was.
Like everything with the cryptocurrencies, almost everything, I guess. It's too shady.
The grand, magnificent Akon City was supposed to be a game changer for Africa. But here's what it looks like today. Here we can see the very same foundation stone of Akon City that Akon and Senegal's government put down exactly 4.5 years ago. It kind of looks For the record, there is some construction going on site. This building, for example, which I guess maybe looks kind of modern and potentially futuristic, but it's really, really far away from looking like a utopian city. How did
I
the
don't
6
think
billion
they have enough specialists and labor force to even build this one building.
dollar futuristic city end up as an empty wasteland?
They need the people from the Europe actually to make it.
Akon was betting on Acoin, hoping that people would buy the coin as an investment. This way, the money would flow directly into the creation of the city. But as we all know, crypto is notoriously volatile. When you combine that with an uncertain project like Akon City, it's pretty easy to understand why people were hesitant to invest their life savings into this coin. And once the value started going down from the $0.58, people got scared and started to sell. The coin kept on falling.
Pump and
Today,
dump.
Acoin has dropped all the way down to $0.003, meaning that a lot of
Scam.
innocent people who believed in Akon's noble vision and promises lost their life savings.
They were made promises that in exchange for people's donations, they would get a TOA, token of appreciation. This would convert over into an A-coin as the time goes on. Well, of course, myself and other people have done such a thing, and they have failed to return people's money, which then will lead them.
And without Acoin, Akon City lost its so-called financial foundation even before construction started. So let's try to break this down as easy as we can with a timeline. It starts in 2020 when Akon lays down the foundation stone for Akon City. 2022, nothing significant has been built. 2023, the land is still empty, except for this half-built welcome center. In 2024, still nothing, except for one major thing. Pressure.
So there's a lot of admin that's done, things like that. So we was able to get a lot of that out the way. And our goal is to be the first phase to be done still by 2026 to make the Junior Olympics in Senegal.
I have to say that I'm not an urban planner myself, but I think it would take more than a couple of years to build a city like this. Akon keeps on breaking his promises, and the whole thing is starting to smell fishy. and Senegal lost its patience. In June of 2024, SAPCO sent a formal warning to Akon. If work didn't start by the end of July that same year, they'd reclaim almost all of the land. It was a clear signal that Akon City was collapsing even before it began, and people started asking questions. Where did all the money go?
To the
Akon
pocket.
was accused of running an elaborate Ponzi scheme where early investors were paid back with money from new investors. This would create an illusion of progress, but only for so long. Akon, of course, had a bunch of excuses.
The thing about the COVID, yeah, it kind of stalled a bit because a lot of partners and solution, providers obviously had to lock down.
Good old COVID-19 slowed things down.
Why did he even do it? He has been already really wealthy and well-known, and why did he need to make his name put in the dirt by these actions and scam so many people in the continent? Where is he from, basically, originally? That's really ill intention.
Economy, of course, took a hit. And Akon has always dismissed the scam allegations as tactics used to undermine his efforts. But at what point do excuses stop holding weight?
Akon is a con, and he has no follow-through or have not fulfilled his agreement to the people who graciously donated invest to a project that was not legitimate.
The project has stalled indefinitely and may never see the light of day. But whatever happens or not, Akon isn't the first to sell a dream like this, and he won't be the last.
Well, the infamous Fire Festival promised superstars, luxury and fine dining in a Caribbean paradise. Instead, it became a fiasco that left founder Billy McFarland sentenced to 6 years in jail.
Akon isn't the first celebrity to sell an impossible dream. For one, there was the Fire Festival. Remember, the luxury music event in the Bahamas that turned into a disaster? Or the wave of celebrity-endorsed NFTs that tanked in value overnight?
Celebrity-endorsed NFTs are leaving investors financially crippled. Even worse, the NFTs that do still have value just caught monkeypox.
And of course, the endless tech utopias pitched by celebrities that never even break ground.
Where's my money?
For example, actor Idris Elba is backing an eco-friendly smart city off the coast of Sierra Leone.
This is a great idea, but
if you're touching the crypto, it's better to touch the coins which has been proven by the time that they're actually the legit coin, like the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe some other.
I know people are going to be a
Not all
little
of
bit
these shit meme
skeptical
coins
considering
from the
what happened with the
YouTubers or
Akon
the
City.
celebrities.
But just like with Akon City, whether that one works out is yet to be seen. But why is it that we continue to fall for these celebrity-driven utopian ideas? Well, people trust celebrities because we feel like we know them, especially in today's social media age where they're constantly in our feeds, connecting with us on a personal level.
What's going on, everybody?
And the sense of closeness that we get from them makes us believe that they have our best interests at heart. But it's not only that. You see, these celebrity-driven projects play to a very primal emotion in all of us. We want to be a part of a community. And what better than a larger-than-life mission that creates that us-against-them mentality, where believers see themselves as insiders, which of course makes it very hard to see all the red flags.
The city is right now, it's a 10-year project, estimated. With all the latest new technologies, though, it might get shorter.
I'm not really sure what kind of technological advancements Akon is talking about here, but there are definitely some red flags to spot. First off, $6 billion sounds like a lot, but it's pocket change in the world of futuristic megacities. Just look at what Saudi Arabia is doing with the Line. That thing is estimated to cost anywhere between $200 billion.
Yeah, 6 billion is not that big money for the futuristic city, so...
1 trillion. I'm sorry, Akon, but $6 billion just isn't building a real-life Wakanda. Second red flag. Let's finally discuss the giant elephant in the room. These buildings. They seem like a builder's worst nightmare. We're talking about bending, twisting, gravity-defying structures. Who's going to engineer this stuff? Maybe bad consultant? Unless technological advancement means bending houses? I really don't see it.
The most important thing when you're
He
studying
just
a
could
business.
recreate the literal Wakanda, how it was shown before in the film. The actual Wakanda seemed more realistic than this city. At least the buildings looked normal at some point in the actual movie.
It's getting the carpet.
And also, the original $4 billion investment supposedly came from this guy, Julius Mavale, someone who's got quite a shady reputation. Unfinished projects, unpaid bills, and no transparency. So if he is your lead investor, it is really not a good sign.
The city will be done, and mentally people know that it's something possible to do in Africa.
Akon had built a reputation as a philanthropist and a man who wanted to do right by his culture. So of course, people wanted to believe him. After all, this was a deeply personal goal, a way to give back to the continent that helped shape his identity.
And our idea is to build a futuristic city.
And it is easy to forget that fame doesn't equal expertise. Big dreams need big money, legitimate financial backing. Without it, they stay exactly that. Just dreams. So maybe the better question isn't will it happen, but should we keep trusting celebrity-led fantasies in the first place?
No, I don't think
I really don't want to be a cynic, truly, because I think that in order to get amazing stuff to happen, you have to have crazy ideas. But the truth is that most idealistic projects rarely live up to their promises.
Since then, Forbes has named you one of the 50 top most influential people in the NFT space. So congrats on that. You know what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm so proud. I love being a part of this community and being a voice and sharing my platform.
But again, I really think Akon had the best intentions. His journey from a pop star to a philanthropist, in my opinion...
Well, he seems like done such great things, like installing the sunlight panels in Africa. That's really great, but eventually he just scammed people.
Reflects a genuine desire to invest in Africa's future.
Hell yeah, I would, because they believed in me. Why wouldn't I? You know, I would do a world tour just to pay them all back.
I salute the boldness of his vision, but I think you gotta be truthful about the risks.
Were so red there. Did he use any illegal substance?
Philanthropist, in my...
You know
His journey from a pop star to a philanthropist, in my opinion, but this is a huge topic, and I want to hear what you guys think. In your opinion, what is the worst celebrity-led project that has ever been launched? Let me know in the comments. And before you leave, if you want to...
Okay. Why the Bougainville people are extremely dark and blonde? They're not African? Uh-huh. What is Bougainville? Afro Artista Films. Alright.
Hey there. I want to share with you the story of why we have such beautiful dark skin. It is something people often notice and ask about.
Okay.
Our skin is often described as among the darkest in the Pacific. And it is not just
really
a
dark.
random thing. In
Nice
fact,
protection from the
we
sun.
are darker than most Africans. The South Sudanese and the Senegalese come close. Yet, we are not African. We are proud Black Pacific Islanders. Anthropologists like Douglas Oliver once noted that our skin is darker than any other Pacific Islanders. And he wondered, did we arrive this way, or did we evolve here? For us, it doesn't really matter. We know it's part of who we are.
Bougainville. Okay. So they're not African, they're islanders, alright.
You see, here in Bougainville, the sun is incredibly strong all year round because we are so close to the equator. Our dark skin, which has a lot of melanin, acts like a natural sunscreen. Melanin is the pigment that gives skin its color. And in our case, it is mostly eumelanin, which makes our skin very dark. This protects us from the harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation. Too much UV exposure can destroy important vitamins in our body, like folate, which is essential for having healthy babies, and it can also cause skin cancer. So, over time, the people with the dark skin were more likely to survive and have children, passing on those dark skin genes.
Yeah,
it is nature's way
course.
of helping us adapt to our environment.
It's an adaptation. I like these folk dances. They're really energetic.
But our story does not stop there. About 3,000 years ago, another group of people called the Austronesians came to our islands. They were from further north and probably had lighter skin. They brought with them new languages and cultures, and we mixed with them. You can see that influence in our languages and traditions today. But even though we intermingled,
they not look like the African black people. They have the different kinds of faces and
skin remained the
gen
dominant
structure.
feature.
They look more like in Southern Indians, actually.
Because the environment there still favored dark skin, or perhaps our
Just
genes for dark
Polynesians,
skin were really
some islanders.
just strong. Either way, our skin stayed dark, and it's a big part of who we are. Scientists have been studying our genes to understand more about why we look the way we do. For example, some of us have blonde hair, which is pretty unique for people with dark skin. It turns out that is
that's
because
really
of a
unique.
special gene found only in our part of the world. It is not the same as the blonde hair gene in Europeans. This shows that we've evolved in our own way here in the Pacific. While there hasn't been a specific study on our skin color yet, it is likely that
beautiful.
there are particular genes that make our skin so dark. Genes that have been passed down and kept strong because they help us thrive in this sunny environment. We've also been somewhat isolated on these islands for a long time, which might have helped keep our skin color consistent. Unlike places where there was a lot of mixing with the lighter skinned populations, our ancestors didn't have much of that, so our dark skin traits stayed prominent. Plus, in our culture, dark skin has always been seen as beautiful and desirable.
Oh, really?
We believe beauty
Okay.
is in the eye of the island, and for us, darker skin has always been admired and respected. There's pride in our appearance, and it is possible that this cultural preference influenced who people chose to marry, keeping those dark skin genes strong in our communities. It is something we've always valued. Now, some people might think that because our skin is dark like Africans, we must be more closely related to them than any other groups. But that is not the case. All humans outside Africa came from groups that left Africa tens of thousands of years ago. The reason our skin is dark is because we live in a place with lots of sun, just like Africa. It's an example of how similar environments can lead to similar adaptations, even in different parts of the world. Meanwhile, people who moved to places with less sun, like Europe, developed lighter skin over time to help their bodies make vitamin D.
Or mixed with the Neanderthals, but that is another theory.
But since we stayed in a sunny place, we kept our dark skin. It is what works best here. So, that is the story of our dark skin. It's a combination of our ancient ancestry, the powerful sun we live under, and maybe even our cultural pride in who we are. It is not just a physical trait, it's a testament to our history and our connection to this land. We are proud of it, and it's a big part of what makes us Bougainvilleans. Each morning, as the first light glimmers on the waters of the Solomon Sea, we feel our ancestors' gift coursing through our veins. Blackness as a beacon, guiding our footsteps through fields of sorghum and along forest trails alike. In markets and village squares, against the tides of colorism and erasure that sometimes swell even among ourselves, we stand rooted in pride, drawing resilience from tenacious hearts that refused to kneel. In every heartbeat of Bougainville, our ancestors' gift endures, reminding us that blackness is not just the color of our skin, but the luminous essence of our shared soul. In every ceremony, from the rising of the upe headdress to the rhythmic drumbeats at night's edge, our black skin glows with the remembrance of those who came before. Our black skin glows with the remembrance of those who came before, their voices carried on the ocean winds. If you enjoyed this peek into our world, drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe for more in-depth adventures into indigenous black cultures around the world. 5 Youpla time.
Okay. Okay, be right back after a few seconds. Okay, let's go.
This angel is worse than Satan.
This angel is worse than Satan?
This angel is worse than Satan. The book of Enoch explained a group of fallen angels known as the Watchers, and what they did will shock you. I'll explain the worst of these angels at the end of the video, so stay until the end. There are 200 of these angels that fell, and here are a few of their names: Samyaza, Azazel, Armaros, Arakiel, and Barakiel. Now let me explain why these angels are so bad. Azazel taught mankind how to make weapons for war. This act alone resulted in chaos, even still to this day. But it gets far worse. The leader of these angels, Samyaza, is far worse than Satan himself. Here's why. Not only was Samyaza the one responsible for leading every fallen angel to sin, he also led a series of experiments with the other fallen angels. They created a series of twisted, disfigured beings with human DNA and animal DNA. This whole story is spoken about in the Book of Giants.
What? Sounds like the ancient Greek mythology. Book of Giants? What is this?
Ray William Johnson.
Ray William Johnson's death threats escalate. Quote, "He really is my dad he left me."
Has been receiving death threats from people on behalf of a woman he claims is stalking him because she made a video claiming to be his daughter that he abandoned many years ago. Since then, he's responded to the allegations with threats of a lawsuit, and now the stalker,
I remember his
daughter,
video about this. This girl is the constant liar, according to his words.
or whoever she is, has made her own response. All the while, her original video is still up on TikTok, gaining millions of views by the day, as death threats to her supposed father continue to pour in.
This woman made a video saying that Ray William Johnson is her biological father, and now Ray William Johnson is threatening to sue her.
So is that what we're doing now? Just making it up and then we get over 1 million views for it? Oh boy.
Girl, sometimes Delulu is not the Salulu.
Ray William Johnson is an American internet personality, actor, comedian, and musician, best known for his YouTube success. He gained widespread fame in the early 2010s with =3 becoming the first YouTuber to hit 5 million subscribers. Today, his channel has over 18 million followers, known for its fast-paced, high-energy style, even when tackling serious topics like true crime. But one of his most recent videos is something more personal, putting himself at the center of a scandal that he says has people threatening his life.
This person even tells me to unalive myself.
And it's all because one woman is claiming...
Yeah, it's just a drama review, okay? It doesn't seem like the most interesting video here.
I lived.
Okay, Egyptian woman just ended the Palestinian debate forever. Let's watch.
In Gaza as a child, and I witnessed the terrorism against Israel before the occupation of Gaza and before the occupation of the West Bank. And our media here doesn't even know that. There was terrorism against Israel before the occupation. So people who are Arabs who claim that they are doing terrorism now because they want freedom, democracy. No, there is no freedom and democracy in any Arab country.
Nooni Darwish,
a daughter of the founder of the Fadain, a terrorist organization that fought against Israel, finally speaks up against Islam. This video will blow your mind. Do yourself a favor.
It's not against the Islam, that's just against the... not only, I mean, I'm respectable towards any religion. I'm just doesn't care. I'm care about the actions, and I'm just seeing the violence towards the Israel, and it has been spreaded first. So the Arabs just generate, but due to the generations are hating the people from the Israel. So.
All the way until the end, actually understand what's going on with the people that were raised with this hate, and their eyes are finally opened. Let's watch.
I was born and raised as a Muslim in Cairo, Egypt, but I grew up as a child in the 50s in the Gaza Strip. And the reason I was in Gaza was because Gaza at that time was part of Egypt. I attended Gaza elementary schools, where we learned hatred, vengeance, retaliation. Peace was never an option. The concept of peace was something foreign. Actually, the word peace was never even mentioned in the services of any mosque. We recited poetry every day in the school, wishing upon ourselves to die as martyrs. You know, I used to see girls reciting this poetry while they're crying. They would wish upon themselves to die as a martyr. See, our value system was about victimhood, thinking of ourselves as victims, or to be a martyr, to go kill everybody and die as a martyr, either a victim or a martyr. There is nothing in between. Women don't go to mosques, but we used to hear the service of the mosque either on radio or on TV. And I remember every Friday prayer, the sheikh would be, at the end of the sermon, he would curse, may God destroy the Jews and the infidel and even the Christians and non-Muslims. And he would call non-Muslims the enemies of Allah. If you grow up with cursing as a form of prayer, it can feel and sound normal. Hatred can be normal because who am I to judge? I never noticed that this is not holy. So this is how I grew up. 22 Arab countries did everything they could to make life impossible for Israel to exist. The Arab League forbade absorbing the so-called Arab Palestinians, rejected to give them citizenship in any Arab country. So you could see a Palestinian born in Cairo, for instance, and never get the citizenship and die in Cairo. They are born and die in Syria, a Palestinian, and they never get a citizenship. Why? Because the Arab League wanted the Palestinian problem never to be solved.
Yep, that's why they haven't settled them for so many years. For so many years, UNRWA did not settle the Palestinians. Why? Because the moment they do, the whole thing is doomed. So they're going to remain refugees for hundreds and hundreds of years, despite the fact they have homes, cars, and even if they left and live in homes in the United States, they're still considered to be refugees.
It's not their agenda. The agenda is to keep them refugees from birth to death. The culture was so for sacrificing. They encouraged women to stand up in front of the cameras and say, I gave my son to the jihad and I want my other children to die in the jihad. Yep. Women who are for life, for peace, were looked down upon. Women who would be radical, if not more radical than men, who will promote jihad for their children, were lifted up as honorable women to be respected in society. So for a woman to be respected in Islamic society, you have to be as radical, if not more radical than men. And that is why a lot of women are silent. They are proud to give their children to jihad. It's the only way to go to heaven is to go and kill the infidel and die in the process. The Arabs of Israel were pushed constantly, they are rejected from being absorbed and constantly pushed against the borders with Israel in order to keep the problem alive. The Arab world doesn't have a shortage of land.
Yeah, the Arab countries are not allowing the Palestinians also to be involved in the Arabic countries' systems because they basically already distracted the Lebanon's economy and made the really almost made the revolution in the Egypt happen. So yeah, the Arab countries know that the Palestinians can bring chaos because of their propaganda and agenda.
If you look at the Arab world from the Atlantic Ocean, Morocco, all the way to Persia, from Turkey all the way to Sudan. At that time, when I was a child, the Sinai was practically empty desert. Nobody lived in the Sinai. Like today, there is Sharm el-Sheikh, all the nice beaches. This was a military zone. And there is absolutely no need, no pressing need for Arabs to be so dwelled on wanting to throw the Jews in the sea. This international conflict called the Arab-Israeli conflict really is a fabrication. This is not a conflict over land. And anybody who thinks it's a conflict over land is misguided because we don't see the truth. The truth is Arabs, there is something in Islam, anti-Jewish, anti-Christian.
I've been saying that since the beginning. And I don't know, people just don't believe me. They're saying I'm an Islamophobe, but I'm not being an Islamophobe. It's completely rational to fear an ideology that seeks to destroy me, my people, the Christians and their people. So what can you do?
Anti-Jewish, and I will tell you why. Those people calling themselves Palestinians who live in the Gaza and the West Bank are the pawns of the Arab world. I don't believe that they care about their happiness or welfare. They are set up to live a miserable life on purpose in order to show the world that we're victims. Do you think Saudi Arabia, with all the money they have, the Gulf countries, all these oil money, they can't give them good roads and good homes and good police and turn it into a productive area of the Middle East? They can, but that is not their objective. There is a hidden objective, and I don't understand why Western culture doesn't get it, why Western media doesn't get it. Why don't they compare the living conditions of Gaza and the West Bank with Egypt, with Syria, with Jordan? And if they do, they will find that the standard of living is even higher than many areas of the Arab world. But Western media are too lazy to compare apples with apples. They want to compare apples and oranges. I don't know, how can I call Western media ignorant? They should not be ignorant. And then they go and ask Israel, why don't you do some concessions for the Palestinians? I never hear them stand up to Arab leaders and ask Western media, why don't they ask Arab leaders, how about some concessions to the Israeli people? We never hear that. And it's very convenient to blame all of this terrorism on, after 9/11 especially, they blame the terrorism. Oh, it's because we have this terrorism everywhere by Muslims. It's all because of the occupation. If it wasn't for the occupation of Gaza, if it's not for the occupation of the West Bank, we wouldn't have a problem. The problem all is because of Israel. That's what they want to give the impression. And this is a big lie, because I lived in Gaza as a child and I witnessed the terrorism against Israel before the occupation of Gaza and before the occupation of the West Bank. And our media here doesn't even know that. There was terrorism against Israel before the occupation. So people who are Arabs who claim that they are doing terrorism now because they want freedom, democracy. No, there is no freedom and democracy in any Arab country, let alone the West Bank or Gaza. So we have to really call a spade now. This is too serious to just take all these lies and look the other way, because it's very, very hard to know the truth if you rely on Arab media, if you rely on the culture around you. And because of life...
Of course, you need to compare the different media sources to not be in the bubble, to think what is more rational towards your well-being and the well-being of the community.
An oppressive society. I moved to America. I moved to America in the end of 78, 79, and my life completely changed. And one time I wanted to attend a synagogue and a church because I was curious. I thought they were going to curse the Arabs the same way we cursed them in our mosque, the holiness of the place. They were praying for everybody. They were praying for peace on earth. How can we leave this earth a better place? It was a totally different way of thinking.
You can hear the passion in her voice. She's very passionate about this. And it upsets her that the world doesn't get it. And I get it. It upsets me as well.
The opposite of what I grew up with. And that's when I went to a mosque here also in Los Angeles. And I thought that because they allowed women, that it was going to be different here within America. I am so glad that Islam in America must be so different. So I went to the mosque and I heard anti-Semitism again in the mosque. And I was told, don't assimilate in America. We're here to Islamize America. They were looking down at American culture. They were looking down at this society. And I felt very uncomfortable. I said, oh my God, there is an agenda here. And I never went back again. It hit me. How could we do this? How could we lie and accuse people of something we Arabs know very well we have done ourselves?
I've heard the one statement that called Islam the political ideology which has been covered by religion. So it was an opinion and it has some logical reasons behind it.
could this happen? What kind of value system allows a person or allows a culture or a religion to lie and accuse their enemies of something that they know they've done themselves? They know that Osama bin Laden did that. They know that he was financed with Arab money, with oil money until today. How could they accuse the Jewish people of that? Look at the map of the Middle East. You can hardly...
I love her. I love Nouni Darwish. Wow, she speaks so well, so much passion. I think I'm in love.
See Israel. It's impossible to convince any person who has an IQ of a child that this problem is over the land called Israel. It's time for the West to understand this, because it's not just not good for Israel, it's not good for the Arab world. They are collapsing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that the Arab world is so strong and so powerful. It's rotting from the core, but they don't know. The religious leaders are telling them to continue the hate instead of telling them to repent and find the true God, the love and the friendship. In the eyes of many Muslims, in the eyes of Islam itself, Jews and non-Muslims, they call them the kafir, the infidels. They don't deserve the truth, they don't deserve justice, and they don't deserve mercy. How can this happen? And we accept it, and we don't say no. The Arab world will never have freedom and democracy when the hatred is number one, when the jihad is number one, when killing your enemy is number one, when you're fixated on lies and slander. You will never have peace and democracy. Nobody asks this question. Why all this lies and slander against the Jewish people, against America? They call America the great Satan and Israel the little Satan. Why? Do you know that on Syrian TV, on Arabic TV, on Egyptian TV, the constant day and night lies about the Jewish people is unbelievable. There was a show that was saying, and in it was not just religious leaders, some of them were scientists, Arab scientists, saying that, oh, do you know why Israel went to Haiti to help with the earthquake? You know why? Because Israel really wanted to harvest the organs of the Haitian people.
Oh
These are the intelligentsia of the
This
Arab
agenda.
world. When the intellectuals of the Arab world say that, what do you expect from the man on the street? And you wonder why they hate? Because day in and day out they are told this. I was told horrific things about the Jewish people. It took me years to extract it out of my mind, my heart, and my consciousness.
Wow. Nouni Darwish, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Beautiful speech. Islam is here to take over the US and Canada and the West and the UK and France. It doesn't matter. You
And
need to wake
Russia
up.
and
This
Eastern
specific
Europe.
religious ideology teaches hate against kuffars. I'm considered to be a kuffar. Right now, Nouni Darwish is considered to be a kuffar because she's openly...
And destroys pretty much the ethnical local religions from the scratch, not even letting the local religions have any sorts of praying or anything. At least communism allows it. I mean, I don't like communism at all, but at least it has it. It didn't surpass suppress all the local religion practices, like in China. The people can actually worship ancestors like they doing, and that's beautiful. And I really dislike that Islam actually suppresses all of the really valuable identity practices, the religious and spiritual practices, which has been lasted for the thousands and thousands of years on the lands and with the ethnic groups which are not has been the Arabs, basically. So the Arabs, the Islam is basically the religion of the Saudi Arabian people, even not all of the Arabs. So it's mostly the political instrument than a religion, but it's covered under the religion disguise, and it has some religion roots, but it's basically a weapon right now.
Posing a war, a verbal war on Islam by
And
informing
has
you
been
guys.
for
So
a long
we need
time.
to wake up. We need to educate ourselves on Islam. The world needs to know this needs to stop. If Islam ever improves and rids themselves of the hateful ideology and hateful teachings, then fine. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. We need to be aware about this thing. But wow, beautiful speech. Nouni Darwish, ladies and gentlemen. And please, if you can, subscribe to her. I don't know if I'll find her channel. I'll try to find it and attach it in the description below. But thank you so much for watching this.
Okay. I'll subscribe to this guy, actually.
Do you live here in?
Seems like he's doing the nice content. Sahar TV.
Do you live here in Aida?
So I was born in Azekam, but then I married and came.
Okay.
This is what the Muslim.
These imams just announced their plan to take over Britain.
This is what the
Okay.
Muslim community is doing, not just in the UK, not just in the USA, across the world, for the Muslim community.
But thought about why don't we do something like this? Why don't Muslims get together and do something like this? But I'll be honest, I always thought it was impossible, which is to create a community within UK, USA for Muslims. Or that's built for a Muslim type of client.
Yes.
Right? Of course, I'm sure you
Okay.
can't like exclude people because of religion or whatnot, right?
There
Because
are
of-
ways about it, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are very wise ways, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the point is that you acquired land.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahumma barik, where there's a masjid in the middle.
Mhm.
And then there are 250 properties that
Yes.
are going to be built.
Probably
around,
more, yes.
Right, around the masjid.
Yes.
You're going to have gyms that are like...
Segregated.
Allahumma barik. Okay, what amazes me is that you actually done it and you sold out all of the plots.
Yes, within 40 minutes.
Oh, the 40 minutes was your one?
Yeah.
I thought that was the other one.
No, so the 40 minutes, they also did it, but they did it second. But they did it all social media announcement. We did it at our house, brother. Nobody even knows about it. Like completely like brothers like you, close
I mean,
brothers came.
again, I respect any religion, anything. I just don't like when the people are crossing borders and just harming each other and doing some other wild shit. So I'm respective towards Islam as well. Just some agenda of the Islam currently is quite hateful, such as the girl before said. So I'm not appreciating this.
Brought their friends
Hate.
and family. We told them the mission, and boom, 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 it's done.
And just so people can have like,
maybe these kind of Islam practitioners in Gaza or in Egypt, they were just not practicing. Okay, I will not speculate on this, but just I don't like action, and action is hate, so which I not like it.
context. Like, what were the deposits people were giving?
$50,000. Just like that.
Allah
Just like that. Boom, boom, boom.
And how big is this project in terms of dollars? Like,
Yes, so just those land that we acquired is $6.8 million. And it's 279 acre land. So like you said, brother, masjid, homes, a total Muslim village. So we're still debating on the name, but it's going to be something Muslim name and a village attached to it, right? The names of the streets, Khalid ibn al-Walid, Tariq bin Ziyad, like all the great conquerors. Like people need to Google those conquerors and know like what are we made of. Yeah, like Google Khalid ibn al-Walid. Google Tariq bin Ziyad, you know? And then we want to have different sections like Andalusia, this, that, like all our past glories, and we want to bring it back. the way what we're doing, brother, like you cannot make it exclusive, like non-Muslims not allowed, kuffar not allowed. What we're doing, there's something called association fee. I don't know what it's called in Dubai, like your maintenance fee that you pay yearly, cutting the service fee to cut the grass, to remove the snow and whatnot. So that service fee will put there 75% of the service fee you're paying goes to the masjid.
So they would automatically not want to come.
Automatically, if you are a practicing Christian, I would advise you, why help the Muslims, you know? Let Muslims do their own thing, right? So this is the way we're going to put the clause. And our attorney already put it there. So we have, brother, think about it. Like a guy comes from Bangladesh, no idea about anything. Brother, we're putting an application now where we're selecting the names of the streets in the United States of America. We're putting the subdivision laws. Like, hey, this is the law. One of the laws being your yearly contribution, 75% of it goes to support the masjid that's going to be there. We're making these laws. We're putting those laws. It's unbelievable what Allah can do for you.
You know, just in my mind. You know, if you what's called verbal manifestations. If you keep saying something to someone,
I don't think that U.S. government will allow freely to do this.
Like that. If you keep telling someone they're a villain, they'll become a villain. People keep saying, "Bro, these Muslims are taking over."
That will become too dangerous. That will be shut down really easily.
If you keep calling it, if you keep saying it, I'm actually going to do it.
No, but you know what's mad is what you just said, bro. Actually, I think it was mind blowing. You said a guy from Bangladesh comes over to the USA.
Starts naming streets.
Starts naming streets after Islamic conquerors.
I cannot sometimes even believe it. And I suggested those names. Other people saying, why these? Can we have like normal
funny?
Allah, give success to this project.
I mean,
Allah, protect this project and give it success.
And there's no riba involved.
I mean, no riba,
no haram.
So we 6.8 million we raised in 40 minutes. Now I'm like, okay, this is happening. This happened, right? And this is another thing. People fear too much, brother. Now you've raised it. Now I have great attorneys. Now we're going to use the kuffar when their talent comes in, right? We have the great attorneys. So I hired everyone that the township knows. So they have dealt with this is their boy, their attorney. This is their civil engineer. This is their planning commissioner. I have hired all of them in our team. Now they are submitting the application because now comes the real world. You got to play it wise, right? So now the township is going to see an application coming from, I'm not going to name his name, like John Smith submitting this application, but it says Khalid bin Walid Street. Oh my God, what is John Smith thinking, right? But this is what you make John Smith do when you got the money. You hire John Smith and tell him, hey, submit an application as I tell you to submit. Yeah. So
are you sure this podcast is not going to get in trouble?
Nothing, brother. I don't care. What are you going to do? So this is another thing.
I want the project to manifest.
Of course.
That's what then you got to pull out the constitution.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Freedom of religion.
Exactly.
You man identify as whatever you want, bro. I identify as Khalid bin Walid Street.
Yes.
This street identifies as Khalid bin Walid Street.
What are you going to do now? Hurt the street's feelings? Come on, man. Yeah. This is funny. This is good, bro.
Look, I don't know what else there is to say, but when you ask yourself what your neighborhood and what your society is going to look like in the next 20 to 30 years, rethink what kind of an area for you in the United States it's going to be. Rethink about what the laws are going to be. I mean, boy, oh boy. These guys sit here and joke about property that they are buying for millions of dollars, laws that they are implementing, praising all of it to Allah, as if God is allowing them and giving them the courtesy to be able to do this. It's called an Islamic caliphate, people. I mean, it's really like, hey man, Israel is the only place in the world where being a Jew and a Christian is not a liability. You might have disagreed with me on that before, but after watching this video, you might have to rethink your answer. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for your support. See you next video. If you want to continue the conversation, you can support my work for free. Discord does not cost a thing. It is the best way to connect with me and others who are seeking the truth. The link is in the description. But if you want to take it one step further, my Patreon gives you access to the Israel you don't see, uncovering the untold stories of what mainstream media does not show you. The link is in the description and it helps me to continue this work. Or if you're just looking to help this thing go, PayPal and buy me a coffee is a really easy way to support me. This channel, this work does not happen without all of you. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you next time.
Okay. I got it. So right now I'm ending the stream. Thanks for watching and see you.